Barracks. The heavenly official bestows a god general in person. Jai Hong Tianchi has a decree. In a hurry. Master Kong Chan's expression changed drastically when he heard this, etc. Can't you use a natural name? Chen Daji asked doubtfully what happened. What's the matter with you? It's been wordy. The old monk Kongchen looked at me solemnly. Little status. Deep merit. Your blood is not meant to be used lightly. Now I'm using Taoism first. Zhu Tianqi's real name. I'm afraid it will attract someone who is not trivial. I'm in a cold sweat when I hear that, right? Zhao, please forgive me in the inner chapter of Bao Puz. Only a small spell. So it's not very well documented. At this moment, the wind is rustling between heaven and earth, crying. A wave of cold wings came from the ground below. Even the pine trees in the yard can't move in this cold. Grandma's complexion suddenly changed when she saw this. Song Lao can't resist this yin che. What has been summoned? What should I do if I'm struck by lightning? Is there any way to send this thing back? I'm not finished yet. A ball of blood accidentally hit the red light and suddenly rose. The red light that was accidentally hit by blood quickly gathered on the ground. In a blink of an eye, it condensed into a statue. Giant yin god's over 5 meters in size. That yin god hugs his head and his forehead, beard, wearing a broken hat, wearing a blue robe and a horn belt. It is the blessing of Zhang Kui, the saint of the townhouse. Little god protector is late. I also hope that Tianchi Haihan. He said it halfway through the salute. Suddenly found out that there is no celestial teacher. Obviously a group of laity. The auspicious Wei Crow suddenly filled the yard. He who Mu Yuanjin glared at everyone present. Let out a furious rebuke for a long time. Not Lord Tianchi. This is nonsense. Who indiscriminately used Zhao to ask for a secretary? I took a step forward. Take the initiative to admit that the younger generation asked God to cheat if you disturb the seniors' practice. Please also ask Grandma Haihan to protect me behind me. Lord Sage, calm down. It's the old woman who has no discipline. That's why my eldest grandson alerted you. If you have to punish you, take me away. Then he fell to his knees with a plop. Although Chen Daji doesn't usually get lost, but the heart is more filial than anyone else. He heard his grandmother say that he would let Yingshen take him away. Can't help but come up with that. A stubborn temper that is not afraid of heaven and earth. This kid doesn't talk nonsense. He punched and hammered himself on the nose. Then he took out the slingshot and aimed it at Zhang Kui on the opposite side. This uncle. My boss invited you here to help clean up the 8 sword generals. Why are you glaring at us? Zhang Kui saw Chen Daji's actions. Not only was there no rage, the face is much calmer. It's been a long time since anyone dared to talk to me like that. Just then, the wind suddenly blew. Blood moon in the sky. 6 female ghosts in red came flying quickly with ghosts screaming. The urgent voice of the Aunt Grandma came from inside. What kind of expert came to my old girl's house? Have something to say. In your capacity. It's not like having the same knowledge as a child. Hear this? Zhang Kui looked up with disdain. Lonely ghosts dare to appear in front of this seat. Don't you know how to write the word death? While speaking, he stretched out his big hand and grabbed the ghost. After the Aunt Grandma recognized him, immediately flew out with a sharp smile from the ghost call. Unfortunately, no matter how hard I try, can't escape the rain shrouded by the big hand. Little devil, I practice good deeds and do not do evil. Please be merciful. Zhang Kui looked at him coldly. He had no intention of stopping what he was doing. It's just your side of the story. Seeing that the Aunt Grandma was about to be caught by him, I say nothing. Holding a copper coin sword, he jumped up and blocked the front. What Grandma said is true. He must have a people. Please be merciful. At this time, Chen Daji was also anxious. Quickly pull up the slingshot. The stone inside shoots out, uncle, you bully people. I'll fight you. Grandma and Kong Chan see this. Shocked, don't offend the sage. If this really hits Zhang Kui, he will be furious. No one here wants to live. Fortunately, what I worried about did not happen. Zhang Kui's road is high and deep. He takes a crack. The 10 suns exploded into sparks with a bang. I feel a slight tingling in my fingers. Zhang Kui let out a sigh. The blood of pure yang and the body of sound collection. No wonder you dare to take action against this work. You are indeed not simple. The little guy who took this photo. What's your name? Hearing this, I quickly bowed my hands and saluted. If so, inform the younger generation that the name of the wine is difficult. His name is Chendaji. After listening, Zhang Kui pinched his fingers and deduced. I was still muttering in my heart, how could the knife believe it? Is there a causal cycle that I don't know about? After a moment, a puzzled look appeared on his face. A ray of golden light popped out of the finger. It hit me. Golden light, great sage in the next second. Cover the entire yard as if it were daytime. Zhang Kui saw the scene. It was so different, how could it be? A light shadow looms behind me. Easy on. There is also a flood dragon roaring up to the sky. Zhang Kui looked surprised when he saw this. He sighed with a strong light of virtue. No wonder. After all, you are the last word he didn't say. See him know my background? I quickly asked. But Zhang Kui shook his head. Just sigh and stop asking. Heaven's law governs everything with its own causal cycle. I should not interfere in the affairs of the world. But I can do what you asked me to do. And I was so frustrated that I adjusted. Hug. The fist told the story of Liu Jiakun's coffin shop. Zhang Kui laughed at the matter. Little sir, a moment later. Then turned into a little fire. Disappeared in the yard. Until now, everyone in the yard breathed a sigh of relief. No way. The pressure of this great god is too great. Chendaji collapsed and slumped on the ground. This grandpa is scary. Grandma smiled bitterly and sighed again and again. Sage Zhang Kui, since the Tang dynasty, he has been a saint king who suppresses evil and avoids disasters. Nothing but death. Chendaji smiled darkly after listening. Then it will be no problem to deal with the 8 swords. All I heard was a loud bang. 8 black passages fall from the sky. It landed right in the middle of the yard. Fortunately, Chendaji quickly stood up. Otherwise, it is estimated that you will be crushed into a lump by the coffin. Zhang Kui's figure then appeared in midair. Little sir, the ghost has been swallowed up by me. I'll take that girl's soul directly to the underworld. Arrange for him to be reincarnated and reborn. This is the matter. Let's say goodbye. This seed has a word of advice. Zhao's technique should not be used easily. Wu Wenyan hurriedly clasped her fists in the air, the luggage boy. Thank you for your help. Zhang Kui smiled slightly. Mr. Z, you are welcome. If you can break through the mystery in the womb one day, just remember to work hard today. Zhao Fei looked at Zhao Fengmai above. Tears can't stop falling. Zhao Fengmai also waved her hand reluctantly. Then he disappeared in place with Zhang Kui. Feng Mei, we will continue to be husband and wife in the next life. Zhao Fei cried hysterically. I couldn't bear it, so I went up and comforted him. After Zhang Kui left, Chendaji got up, circling around 8 black coffins in the courtyard. This thing is too permeable in the yard. Chop it up and burn it. Grandma smiled and explained. This thing has been sacrificed for thousands of years by the 8 swords general. Ying's permeability, it's a treasure. Maybe so wasteful. I looked at the Aunt Grandma and said gratefully. Thank you, Grandma, for your desperate help today. I will honor you with these 8 coffins. Grandma Aunt is also very interested in these 8 black officials. So I accepted him without ceremony. He looked meaningfully at Chendaji. Put it in my grave. Just for your daughters-in-law to practice. When you die, I can still be your bridal chamber. Chendaji was stunned when he heard it. Can this thing still be used as a bridal chamber? Do you want my dad to pay? Redecorate the coffin. After all, we are also the ones who want cards. That's right. Please take my golden powerhouses back too. Resist godchildren for my daughters-in-law. Otherwise I can't bear to. Just as Chendaji was caught up in the afterlife. When you yearn for beauty. Chang Huayuan of the Holy Snow and White. He hurried to the yard. Mr. Z is not good. Just now. The anti-aging piece I gave you before is broken. I frowned when I heard that. I have a bad feeling. Is it because something happened to Su Fangcao? Immediately going out to town. Go to Su Fangcao's house to check the situation. Grandma saw this and quickly stopped me. Ziju, don't worry. How do you get there in the middle of the night? Zhang Huayuan also started to persuade. Don't be in a hurry, little sir. Let me finish. I know the relationship between that woman and you. So in the anti-aging fragmentation for the first time, I rushed to his house to check the situation. Strangely, I didn't notice anything unusual. Not even the slightest smell of dirt. Hear this? The anxiety in my heart calmed down a little. Brother Chong, since there are no dirty things that harm people, then how could your anti-aging break for no reason? Chang Huayuan shook his head and replied that he didn't know either. Weird is weird here. Just when I wanted to double-check. Suddenly realized there is a huge lunar calendar coming to you. So I hurried back. What just happened at home? So I will accidentally. Please come to the matter of Sage Zhongkui, briefly told. Think again. Is there really nothing wrong? Chang Huayuan showed a thoughtful look after listening. If you have to say something strange. Miss Su has a faint sandalwood at home. Condensed but not scattered, I didn't really find anything else. I frowned when I heard that the ghost is negative. Negative things are often in dark and dirty places. So-called dirty. There won't be any fragrance at all. Guess right, everyone discussed Su Fangcao for a while. Nothing came of it until 2 a.m. Can only disperse. The old monk of the empty product put his hands together and said goodbye, since the matter of Zhao Jiakan has been resolved. Then I'll go back to the temple to guard first. The evil Buddha in the temple also asked the female bodhisattva to help. Grandma thought for a while. Ghost Buddha has ghost nature and Buddha nature. You don't have to be too nervous if you don't come out to harm people. You go back first. If he comes out to make trouble. The old lady must ask the Xian family to accept this scum. After Master Kongchan received a promise of gratitude from his grandmother. This is the peace of mind to leave. The sky is getting brighter. Gongchan returned to Jingguang Temple. As soon as he entered the hall, he was stunned on the spot. I saw that I entered under the Buddha statue a few days ago. 3 Wutai mountain monks who suppressed the faceless ghost Buddha. I have already sat in the hall chanting sutras and worshipping Buddha. Namo Amitabha. Buddha blessed the 3 senior brothers and finally returned safely. I don't know if there were any dangers on this trip. How is the ghost Buddha doing now? 3 old monks with white hair stopped chanting. Slowly open your eyes. Tell the story of the experience inside. It turns out that the 3 eminent monks of Mount Wutai, after entering the space below the Buddha statue, I didn't see the hell I imagined. Quite the contrary. There is only one grand temple inside. Incense is prosperous. Among them, various ghosts and demons are vaccinated. You can't count. But none of these ghosts are at all tyrannical. Their faces, peaceful, even smiling. Sitting neatly and quietly in the temple. Listen to a little monk who looks like he's only 5 or 6 years old. Read the scriptures. Little monk's pink carved jade bracelet. But sitting in front of the Buddha is a treasure box. Solemn and complex Buddhist Dharma. He explained it in simple terms. Not only a group of ghosts are fascinated. Even the 3 old monks from Mount Wutai are unknowingly addicted to it. They listened to it for 3 days and 3 nights. Until the 4th day, the little monk kept silent. 3 old monks just woke up. Master Danshan was shocked after hearing this. What about the ghost Buddha without a face? The oldest monk shook his head. Answer that there is no ghost Buddha in there. We asked the little novice. Have you ever seen a ghost Buddha without a face? The little novice said. He has been there since he woke up to save the ghosts. Never seen a Amitabha. That little novice is the soul of a great monk. Danglai Nai ghost Buddha faceless. It has been transformed by him unknowingly. Although Master Kong Chan, Li Fu's heart has been like still water all his life, but I was still shocked by what the 3 old monks said. 3 old monks from Mount Wutai. Get up and say goodbye to him. Since junior brother Kong Chan is back, the 3 of them returned to Mount Wutai. What the great monk said. It's like crying. I'm going to retreat for a few years after I go back. Long title to hear this. Kong Chan hurriedly penetrated the luggage. After 3 eminent monks bid farewell, I woke up all the way down the mountain. The wind blows beneath their feet. Extremely fast. It's halfway up the mountain. Suddenly I feel a little bit more like the scene in front of me. It's like bursting into another world. Everything around was a strange dark red. The rancid smell also permeated. A dilapidated ancient temple appeared in front of 3 old monks. In the gusty wind, a man wears a bronze mask of Jinglan, wearing a bright red monk's robe, holding a dagger with a black light in his right hand. Young monk holding a blood-stained letter in his left hand. Sitting cross-legged in the middle of the ancient temple gate, the 3 old monks immediately stopped in their tracks. Solemn face, the finished product stands back and forth on its own. Namo Amitabha. The person in front is the ghost Buddha great monk. Young monk. The whole body exudes a strong bloody smell. I don't want 1,000 years to pass. Your Wutai mountains are still thinking about this work. The 3 old monks confess to each other. The face is more solemn. Since ancient times, Buddhas and demons have been divided. There is no need to say more to each other. The 2 old monks at the back immediately sat on the ground. Recite the Kiso mantra of suppressing demons aloud. Homeopathy between heaven and earth. There are blossoming white lotus flashes. The old monk at the front smashes the rosary in his hand. Wave your hand and hit the ghost Buddha faceless. There are still words in my mouth. If I should be greedy for power and comfort all sentient beings, make me even hold hands and hold the wild crew. Facing attack. The ghost Buddha in front of the ancient temple gate is faceless and still does not dodge. You don't notice? Sitting there quietly. And the golden rosary beads that hit me swirled in low flow. Suddenly stopped half a meter in front of the ghost Buddha body. Can't move forward anymore. Ghost Buddha faceless. Then he stood up calmly. Is that all you can do? After saying that, he reached out and took off the white lotus on his head. Lightly under your feet. It's like the Buddha eating flowers. 18 rosary beads rotating in front of you. Redress into a string. Hanging on his hand. You 3 little monks are proficient in Buddhism. I quite appreciate it. It's a pity that you are from Mount Wutai. All the monks in Mount Wutai will die. And he waved his arm. The fishy red mist suddenly gushed out like a tide. In an instant he attacked 3 old monks. Not good, the 3 eminent monks exclaimed in unison. Just about to respond. Suddenly feel a sharp pain in the throat. And I couldn't move my body. Then there was a sudden pain in the throat. Then he slowly fell to the ground. Ghost Buddha faceless, standing coldly in front of 3 old monks. Blood slid from the black dagger in his hand. Behind the bronze mask of the haunted house, a pair of scarlet eyes full of willingness to bet on Mount Wutai. Mount Wutai will come sooner or later. This work will slaughter all your Buddhist children and grandchildren, he roared. He threw himself on the bodies of 3 old monks and frantically chopped up the corpses. Flesh and internal organs are flying all over the sky. That looks better than hunger. After half a month, the beasts in the mountains are still brutal. Day to dawn. Pilgrims in the Golden Mountain Buddha. I see broken clothes and bones all over the place. And a letter of recommendation, soaked in blood for thousands of years. It's school time again. Early morning, Father Chen started the car to take us back to school. Me and Chendaji, Zhao Fei packed his things and walked outside. And suddenly Hufir called out to me. He was depressed and caught up with his clothes. It's cold. Grandma asked me to get you some clothes. His eyes were red as if he had cried. I'm confused about what's going on with the inquiry. If someone bullies you, tell me. I will avenge you. Wufire shook her head and turned away from me. And I went up and I grabbed his wrist. He slipped into my arms. I'm sorry. I'm just afraid that you will be wronged. I don't mean anything else. Nothing more than too hesitant to say, but I couldn't help but say it. Just curious. What kind of woman did you give anti-aging to? Just a child. After saying these words, he went back into the house without looking back. Chendaji came up at this time and urged him to leave quickly. Don't you still want to see Su Fangcao's situation? I nodded and got into the car. The temple is broken. After going back to school, the 3 of us hurried into the classroom. However, it was found that Su Fangcao seems to be fine at all. I'm previewing my homework in my seat. I haven't seen him in a few days. He's getting lighter, with a look of disdain on his face. So I went up to him and I asked him, have you been feeling unwell recently? What about the scales I gave you? He was obviously dumbfounded, and he said, I'm okay. Nice scales. What scales? When did you give it to me? I don't remember anything about it. Something feels wrong. When I was about to continue asking, a burst of laughter suddenly came from behind. First in our class. I finally got to school. The first thing is to pick up girls. And Fatty Zhao. Why are you suddenly acting like a little brother? I've heard for a long time that you like to serve people. Or serve me too. The speaker is Li Jinlong. Tall skinny man with a poor kidney face. Zhao Fei saw him and tried for a while. Then he scolded Cerna. Don't stop me from being born. Because his dad is the big gangster boss in the city. Do a lot of immoral things. He spread the word about me and Feng Mai. If not for him, Feng Mai will not be forced to leave. Chendaji was immediately furious when he heard it. In his heart, it's normal for men to have conflicts between men. Big deal, do it in person. The one who wins is the uncle. If you lose, you are working hard. But his mother did something bad behind his back. That would be immoral. Especially when it involves innocent women. Li Jinlong smiled even more arrogantly. Feng Mai. It wasn't a good thing he was forced to go. You should thank me. He's been played anyway. Chendaji couldn't help but say this. He rolled up his sleeves. He punched the opponent in the nose. Feng Mai is my brother and sister. Stop your mouth full of shit. Who is Li Jinlong? From a rogue family. Familiar with various street fighting routines since childhood. Chendaji just followed me to learn ancient martial arts for half a month. Naturally not his opponent. In a blink of an eye, he was thrown into a big somersault by Li Jinlong. As soon as I can leave, I will learn to fight with my father. Do you still want to hit me? Just when he was looking at it, I suddenly appeared behind him. One trick capture. The backhand restricts his movement. Apologize to my brothers. Otherwise, I will hit you once I see you in the future. Li Jinlong screamed in pain. Snot and tears. I lay there begging for mercy. Chendaji and Zhao Fei saw this. I took the opportunity to kick him hard. Bastard, let me hear you raise your eyebrows again. I can't spare you. Finish processing these. I came to Su Fangcao. I want to continue to ask about anti-aging. But before I could speak, the 9 difficulties were interrupted by his frown. I don't like you fighting with others. I don't like you making random friends. Listen to me and let's work together. Let's go to the outside world together in the future. This kind of words make me feel very uncomfortable. Look at him seriously. I said I do things on my own. Don't mess around. I hope we can respect each other's choices. There was a flash of indifference in his eyes. I feel like a stranger. If you don't listen to me, you will regret it sooner or later. Then he turned and walked out of the classroom. It's get out of class time. So I was dejected, and I was leaning against the wall. Chendaji curiously came over to ask the boss. Why don't you go to Su Fangcao? You're worried about him, aren't you? I was depressed and told him to calm down first. Then Li Yun strode towards us. It's hard to talk for a long time. I have something to tell you alone. Could you please come back to the classroom with me? Chendaji originally thought that Li Yun was here to find him. I was a little disappointed to hear that. I don't want to do it for nothing. Make a distance between himself and Chendaji. So I told him to just say it here. No outsiders. Li Yun thought for a while and then slowly told it. It's a weird thing to say. But I promise every word I say. It's all true. Chendaji stupidly leaned forward. Licking his big face and talking about the cloud, just tell me if there is anything wrong. I believe you. Li Yun habitually ignored him. Remembering the strange thing that happened yesterday. Yesterday, I have an appointment with Fangcao and 2 other female classmates. Let's go to Gamu Mountain Ski Resort to play together. Everything was going well. Until we got on the cable car down the mountain. When the cable car is about to reach the bottom of the mountain, the sachet hanging around Su Fangcao's neck suddenly fell. It's the anti-aging piece in the bread. Things are hard to give me for a long time, so I can't throw them away. Su Fangcao's attitude is very firm. After the cable car reaches the end, it has to go back on foot to find it. The other 2 girls are afraid of being tired and don't want to go. It's not valuable. Forget it, we know you are the monitor of Lotus. The big deal is to ask him to give you another one. In the end, only Li Yun accompanied Su Fangcao. Look along the cable car route. Hard work pays off. After an hour of hard climbing, Su Fangcao finally found the anti-aging sachet. But the sachet happened to fall on an unknown. In animal skulls, the skull was placed neatly on a stone platform. There are still 7 pieces of frozen raw meat in front. On every piece of raw meat, insert 3 incense sticks that are more than half burnt. Skull against the sun. It's a weird dark red. Like a bull, but the big teeth in his mouth are terrifyingly sharp. Although it is a pig, but the strange scene in front of me. It also made Su Fangcao and Li Yun feel very scared. Su Fangcao reached into Bone's mouth trembling. Take the sachet out little by little. But the moment the sachet was taken out, his fingers were cut by the teeth of the skull. A few drops of blood were left on it. Speaking of this, Li Yun had some guilt on his face. I wish I had stopped him. Fangcao he has been since then. Something started to go wrong. After listening to Li Yun's account, I am even more worried about Su Fangcao. It seems that there is really something dirty that hurts people. Quickly ask what's wrong with the grass. Tell me in detail. Li Yun then continued to talk. On their way back, they passed by Jingguang Temple. It's a 1,000-year-old temple. The other 2 girls want to go in and burn incense. Hey Six Buddha. Give us a boyfriend like the monitor. If it really doesn't work, Chendaji can make do with it. Reminds me of the terrifying scene I just encountered. Li Yun also wanted to bring Su Fangcao in to pay his respects. As for peace, the decision to enter the temple to burn incense and worship Buddha, but it was firmly opposed by Su Fangcao. Originally in a trance. It can even be said that he is lost. Noisy and going to leave by car now. Li Yun noticed. He looks towards. The eyes of the golden temple gate are full of fear. See the scene? It strengthened his determination to enter the temple to worship the Buddha. He dragged Su Fangcao into the temple. Be sure to take him to the chess meeting. It's amazing. Su Fangqiao, who was originally struggling violently, after entering the main hall of Jingguang Temple, it quieted down in an instant. It's like a different person. Even took the initiative to order 3 incense sticks, plugged in a bronze incense burner, 3 kotaos and 9 prayers to the authentic Buddha statue in the main hall. At the moment when Su Fangqiao knelt down, Li Yun vaguely heard a voice, Namo Amitabha. All beings can see. The voice is solemn and compassionate, full of vicissitudes of life. And paradoxically, it's so crisp. It looks like it was sent by a child. Su Fangqiao finished kneeling. No longer that lost look. It gets really quiet. Face full of indifference. Since that day, Su Fangqiao is completely different from usual. I'm so afraid he's possessed by something dirty, Li Yun said and couldn't help but shiver. After listening to what happened to Su Fangqiao, I had a bad feeling. Got it, thanks for letting me know. Don't worry, I will definitely save Fangqiao. At the same time, after Li Jinlong was beaten by us, unwilling to walk out of school, he cursed coldly for a long time. You wait for the few of you to wait for me. I'll ask my dad to get someone to clean you up. These words were reported to Grey 6 by the little mouse. Dare to calculate Mr. Z. Go and give him some color. The little mouse next to him suddenly jumped up at the command. He bit towards Li Jinlong's calf, but just got close. The ancient talisman hanging around Li Jinlong's neck. Just a flash, black light invisible to ordinary people. The 2 little mice were bounced away by the light, rolled far to the ground. Grey Liu saw this and snorted coldly, human bones protect blessing. Cuckoo is evil and dares to be presumptuous in front of me. And he plucked out one of his beards. Random casting. Glue the beard to Li Jinlong's clothes. Immediately after, the human bone protective suit he is wearing makes a sound. Slight crisp sound. Then crack a few cracks. After being dissatisfied and broken, Li Jinlong suddenly felt cold all over. And he trotted back to his house. See this tree? Grey Liu turned around and left with satisfaction. He frowned and muttered to himself. What's happened lately is full of evil. It seems that salt should be added to protect Mr. Z. After listening to Li Yun's story, worried, I called my grandmother. Let grandma tell brother Liu. Please go to the ski resort to have a look. And I always thought this was something very involved. After a moment of silence on the other end of the phone, then came the sweet voice of Hufir. I don't think I can always bother to go back to the seniors. Leave this matter to my Hu family to do. Can I ask my grandfather to go to the ski resort for himself? He is the most powerful of the 5 patriarchs. I listened to Hufir. I also think that Grey Liu is too hard. Therefore, he nodded in agreement, which would trouble Senior Hu. I'll thank you well after solving it. Hufir's shy answer is no. Just a little effort. After saying that, he reluctantly hung up the phone. Soon after, the pioneer arrived at Hu Qingshan in the valley and rushed to the ski resort. According to Huffle's description, he went straight to the halfway side of the mountain. But I found that there was no road at all. His eyes twinkled like to stars. Carefully look at the surrounding grass and trees. Moments later, a ghost vision was discovered. How can a mere evil spell stop my fairy family's orthodoxy? Grand Master Cathedral. 100 ghosts confused. As Hu Qingshan's voice fell, there was a similar sound around. The sound of glass breaking. After the sound, the situation that Su Fangqiao and Li Yun saw. He appeared in front of the Hu clan patriarch again. It's just that this bull skull is even weirder than it was a few days ago. Waves of black smoke wafted out of it. At the same time, there was a faint roar echoing around. There are also cracks on the skull, spreading like a spider's web. Hu Qingshan looked at it with his eyebrows locked. After a little hesitation, he waved his sleeve robe. The strange scene in front of him was covered up again. Help people to the end. Send Buddha to the west. That's all. The old man will go to Jingguang Temple Hu Hui's ghost Buddha again. After a cup of tea, Hu Qingshan came to the main hall of Jingguang Temple. An empty meditation master who is chanting sutras to worship Buddha met the head of the Hu family. He quickly got up and saluted Namo Amitabha. The penniless monk has seen the old fairy's house. Hu Qingshan nodded in return. Master, you don't have to be polite. The old man came today to think of the ghost Buddha of Hu Hui Gui Temple. And as soon as he was done, he walked up to the statue. Then the figure flashed. He slowly disappeared into the hall. Master Kanchan knew that he had gone under the Buddha statue. He hurriedly instructed the little monk to continue chanting. Protect the law for the old fairy family. After Hu Qingshan entered the space below the Buddha statue. See the scene? Just like the 3 old monks on Mount Wutai. Everything in front of him made him a little confused. It's not that the ghost Buddha is suppressed here. How can it be such a peaceful sight? I didn't wait for the Hu family head to think more. The little monk stood up and saluted. Namo Amitabha. The little monk has no intention of seeing the old fairy's house. Hu Qingshan nodded gently and returned to the spirit. Little master, since the law number is unintentional, did you ever know the faceless master? Wuxin, the little monk shook his head after hearing this. A few days ago, a few eminent monks came to Zhaoxi to find Master Faceless. It's a pity that the little monk doesn't know each other. Hu Qingshan then asked about Su Fangkao. A girl met something dirty and came to Shizuka in the temple. But the little master took action against him. The little monk's face was full of compassion. Send the name of Buddha to the mouth again and again. Namo Amitabha. All being suffer. The little monk saw the female benefactor the day before yesterday. I was sacrificed by the cow ghost. I can't bear it, so I went to Gamu Mountain that night. Under good advice. The benefactor of the cow ghost is finally merciful. Give the soul to the little monk. The little monk has returned them to the female donor overnight. But what's the problem? Hu Qingshan nodded after listening. Answer that girl is fine. The little master has one last question. How about Monk Wuxin? What if the monk has no face? When the little monk heard the words, his face first showed a dazed look, and then it reverts back to compassion. If a monk has no mind, he will realize the boundlessness of Buddhism. Monk Ruo faceless. A faceless monk must have a devil in his heart. Hew before the Buddha. After a brief inquiry, I went back to my grandmother's yard again. It's already 7 p.m. So I went up and I thanked him. Master Wu has worked hard. What's the takeaway from this trip? Hu Qingshan gently flicked off the wind and snow on his body. Then answer with a smile. That girl doll was killed by a cow ghost. But the cow ghost, it has been unintentionally small under the Buddha statue of Jinshan Temple. The monk solved it. Grandma came out of the house when she heard the movement. He asked doubtfully that the cow ghost needed someone to support it. Who is so immoral? Chen Daji has always been more curious. He scratched his head and asked what the cow ghost was. So I explained it to him. Do you know the origin of the word bulls, ghosts, snakes and gods? Cattle, ghosts, snakes and gods were originally Buddhist terms. It's about ghosts, gods, etc. The cow ghost originally referred to the Minotaur ghost clan in hell. Later, Southeast Asia refers to the practice of raising imps in this generation. Changing haunted houses harms people. Call it a cattle ghost. Chen Daji suddenly realized after listening. The soul of Su Fangkao. Since it has been sent back by the little monk. Then why does he still have amnesia? Grandma smiled and said that the soul of mortals is quite different. If you are rushed by the yin wind and yin che, you will suffer some damage. Wait a few days for the 3 souls and 7 souls to stabilize again. It's fine. I just don't know who kept this cow ghost there. If he becomes the climate, many people will suffer. Hear me. Hu Qingshan nodded. That's why I confiscated the cow ghost. We're going to put a long line to catch a big fish. Grandma snorted coldly at this time, whoever he was. Dare to offend my eldest grandson and the people around him. Heavy penalty. I don't understand after hearing it. Why have you always been compassionate and disciplined? A generous grandmother would be so angry. It seems to see my doubts. Grandma soothed her emotions. Only then did one tell Ziju. You come from a prominent family and have a blood feud. And your enemy is not simple. This determines every step you take in the future. It must be like an abyss. Walking on thin ice, if there is a slight carelessness, it will end up being destroyed. So, beware of anyone who approaches you intentionally or unintentionally. There must be no trace of a woman's stain. If you find any trouble. Lisa finished listening to her grandmother's words. I nodded seriously. Hu Qingshan handed over his position on this matter. My Wu family swore to defend Zhao Xian to the death first. Shang Chendaji patted his chest. I will definitely protect you, boss. No matter who you fight with in the future. If you let me go, I will go. Even if the nose is dry, it will never be cowardly. Hear this? I was so moved. Thank you very much. At the same time, at Li Jinlong's house, he carefully took one out. Stinky black bat. Then he bites his fingertip and drips the blood into the bat's mouth. After drinking his blood, great sage Hongmeng in the eyes of the bat. The Yue family is a little hideous. Little ancestor, please go back and tell my aunt. Someone bullies me. A man named Chendaji. One is called Wine. I want them to die before Li Jinlong says it. The new stinky bat flaps its wings. Fly away from here, and the scene, are being watched by his two little mice. See in the eyes. They didn't dare to stay for a moment. He hurriedly chased after the bat that flew away. It's a pity that the legs of the two little guys are too short. No matter how you chase, the distance is getting farther and farther. Destination of the bat. It is a villa in a deep mountain in Dongying County. The architecture of this villa is very strange. The entire exterior wall is completely black. The kind of darkness that makes people look desperate at a glance. It was at the front door, not a traditional townhouse like a stone lion, but to bullhead statues. At this time, a man and a woman were sitting opposite each other in the villa, and there was a furnace between them. The pot on the stove was steaming with a fishy smell. The man's name is Li Feng. It's Li Jinlong's father. Gloomy face. At first glance, they are ruthless people. Girl cow ghost has been planted for so long. When will I kill that bastard who drives the ski resort? Make him pay tens of thousands of protection fees every month. This bastard just doesn't know how to lift up. The woman's name is Li Jiao. It's Li Jinlong's sister-in-law. Wearing dahongpao. Face full of folds. Her voice was unusually hoarse. It took decades longer than that. The farmer uncle with dry smoke is also hoarse. Logically speaking, the cow ghost should have woken up long ago. Is there any accident? So be it. Second brother, go to the ski resort again in 3 days. Pour the contents of the jar on the cow ghost's head. Remember to run immediately after watering. Don't look back when you hear any sound. Li Feng frowned at the stinking clay pot. What's in here? Li Jiao was neurotic and issued a black smile. A mouthful of burnt teeth was exposed. The answer is cause. Heard it was this wicked thing. Li Feng suddenly felt a chill. Li Jiao suddenly thought of something. He got up and walked to the large black vat served in the middle of the room. After lifting the lid of the big cylinder, a stronger stench is coming. There was a mournful howl in the tank. Little babies, be good, don't cry. Mom is here to feed you. He said. Dad took scissors from his dried-up arm. A piece of flesh under my feet was thrown into the vat. You can't eat Mom's meat for free. To exchange something. She laughed and put her hand in the vat. After a few seconds, when Li Jiao withdrew his arm, the entire sleeve has disappeared. And it's full of scratches and grazing marks. At the same time, there is a black child's hand bone in his hand. Li Feng looked terrified. Carefully ask if it's okay. Li Jiao grabbed the lid and closed it. Then die. Hold down the black cylinder that is shaking more and more violently. You idiot, leave me alone. If you don't want to die, hurry up and splash these little beasts with oil. How could Li Feng dare to neglect such a strange situation? Grab the pot, splashed everything inside on the black vat. Some oil meets Li Jiao. The skin of the old face was suddenly scalded. In the sizzling burning sound, black cylinder, bubble-like projections keep popping up on the surface. An iron cyan face appeared on the bulge. After a while, the black tank finally stopped shaking. Li Jiao was relieved to play the tambourine. Throw it to Li Feng. It's good for you to wear this close to your body. Li Feng took the tambourine fingers. It feels like holding a block of ice. Couldn't help but hit a clever girl. How do you carry this thing? You are such a piece of crap. Li Jiao ripped off Li Feng's shirt as she spoke. Placed the hand bone to his body. And there was this terrible pain. Li Feng couldn't help screaming. I saw that the hand bone was actually bent. Fingers got into his flesh. It could even be said that it grabbed directly on his sternum. Looking at Li Feng's strong chest muscles exposed, and the blood that keeps flowing, Li Jiao seemed to have been stimulated in some way. He got close and made a perverse move. Then he took Li Feng's hand, put it on his own clothes. Looking at desire, step by step approaching her own Li Jiao. Li Feng was so frightened that his face turned pale. Expensive, yelling out the door. Are you idiots? Hurry up and bring people in. Hear this? 2 bald men. Drive now. Ran in with a comatose young man. Hello, Auntie. This little white face is filial to Auntie. The young man is rather handsome. Li Jiao licked her dry lips with satisfaction. Let them put the young man to bed quickly. After letting go of youth, 2 bald men, he escaped from the villa with Li Feng in embarrassment. At the same time, don't forget to close the door of the villa tightly. After a while, the wailing of the youth and Li Jiao's perverted laughter. It came out at the same time. Hovering outside the villa, Li Feng spotted bats in midair. Immediately, I realized that it was not good. After another 10 minutes, the door of the villa suddenly opened. Li Jiao with a satisfied look on her face. He came out disheveled. Useless men are sucked dry so quickly. At this moment, Li Feng was looking for something in a panic. Li Jiao grabbed the bat in her hands with a wave. What you're looking for, this is it. Why are you so afraid that your poison seedling Jinlong will find me? Li Jinlong is obviously very afraid of Li Jiao. He smiled awkwardly and explained how it could be. Isn't it natural for him to be close to his aunt? Li Jiao licked her lips and giggled. The wrinkled face is full of silver evil. You know it. That kid used to peek at me in the shower a lot. He's grown up. It's time for you two to serve me together. Li Feng Wenyan dared not refuse. I hesitated and quickly changed the topic. Why is King Long, that stinky boy, looking for you? Although Li Jiao smiled. A few short-eyed brats bullied our golden dragon. Is Jinlong begging me to help take revenge? Now, let the golden dragon give me the birth dates of those people. I'll cast a spell to kill these little brats in a while. Soon after, Li Jinlong was called to the villa. He and Li Feng knelt together at a dark table. There are still 4 outlines in front of you. Li Jinlong trembled and was a little timid. It's okay if my aunt is here. Why did you let me come? After Li Feng heard it, he reprimanded him angrily and shut up. How many times have I told you not to take the initiative to find your aunt? This is trouble. It's 12 o'clock. An old clock hanging on the wall. There was a clanging sound. Li Jiao laughed strangely about this. Suddenly appeared behind the two. Yama calls people 3 more deaths. No one will be left until the 5th watch. It's time to die. Give up. He went straight to the statue of the evil god. lighting to red candles made of oil. As the candle burns, a pungent stench spread out. Li Jinlongwen felt nauseous. He quickly covered his mouth. Then he seemed to think of something. He hurriedly said, "Auntie, wait a minute." Li Jiao glanced at him meaningfully after listening. "What, you want to go back on it?" Li Jinlongwen Yanlian, busy head explaining, "No. I just wanted to ask. I only know their birthdays. Don't know the time. Does it not work?" Don't worry about a lewd smile after listening. Just a few hairy boys. Only the date is sufficient. After saying that, he went from a row of big black vats in front of him. Pick one. After opening and groping in the cylinder for half a day, he took out a mummy corpse. And that stench came with it. The mummy's face twisted. His hands were clutching his face. Apparently suffered a great deal of pain before death. Look at his looks and shape. Should have been an adult man. An excited expression appeared on Li Jiao's face. And I was clutching his skull. He was casting spells and chanting spells that nobody understood. About a quarter of an hour later, he dug a big hole right above the mummy's head. Then, in the shocked eyes of the two, grabbing a handful of black meatworms from a small clay pot, stuffed in. After the meatworm enters the mummy's head, the mummy actually stood up fiercely. Li Jiao then took out another one. Yellow paper with date of birth. Ignite and stuff it in his mouth, baby. Go kill these 3 people on the paper now. When the mummy heard that, he immediately turned around and ran outside the villa. Then it turned into a cloud of black smoke and disappeared. Extremely fast drying and wetting. In a blink of an eye, he arrived outside the school courtyard wall. After hesitating and screaming for a while, he ran to the dormitory building. But just a few steps, a thick fog suddenly rose around. I can't tell the direction at all from southeast to northwest. He just bumps around like a fly with a brow. In the fog, from time to time, various small animal groups appear. Attack the mummy. Beyond the mist, and I saw this. I can't help but praise that this move is also fascinated by the wind. It was amazing. Brother Hui Liu's Taoism has improved again. Hui Lao Liu is not modest either. It's not all taught by Mr. Z. Chang Ba Yi looked proud. Zhao Ajij, but I carried Brother Hui here. Do you have to remember me? I smiled slightly. Naturally, I have to thank the 8th master. If not, you too. Sensing that someone is going to use evil magic to harm us. And came in time. I'm afraid the 3 of us are dead. Quan was gritting his teeth in anger. I don't know which bastard it is. When we find him, we'll have to skin him. Brother Hui Liu sneered when he heard the words. Fingers pinch and dig a dazzling magic ball that pops up in an instant. He hit the mummy on the forehead. Don't worry. That behind-the-scenes support will definitely fall out. At the same time, Li Jiao, who was far away in the villa, also felt that something was wrong. I didn't expect 3 stinkers to have some skills. And we said okay, ignoring the questioning eyes of Li Feng and his son. Pulling another mummy from the black vat. Good nephew. Come to my aunt. Li Jinlong was so frightened that he trembled all over. In the end, it was helplessly moved to Li Jiao before her death. Auntie, what are you looking for me for? Li Jiao didn't answer. A perverted laugh. Then he flapped his sharp nails. Stuck into his thigh. He did all this. Ignore Li Jinlong's miserable throat. Standing blood. Doing. A crooked big one was written on the right hand of the corpse. The word was followed by the incantation, and the evil energy burst out all over the body. Martial arts, divine martial arts, the first ghost of Wudong. Tale of the Wudong god. 3 lives and 9 rights are godless. Pushed by a spell. A wisp of black mist drifted out of the mummy's head. Then leave the villa. Wandering towards the school. The black mist was manipulated into the body of the mummy. Next second, the right arm of the mummy in the fog suddenly swelled. Da Chen Daji was surprised when he saw this. Why is it bigger? Now, there were a lot of violent red hairs in the eyes of the mummy. Wave as soon as you see where we are. Giant hands attack. Grey Lao Yu saw this and issued a tireless cold. Rice spiders also dared to compete with Heo to die. Seeing that Brother Hui is about to make a move, I quickly stopped him. Brother 6. Let me try. Since Zhang Yang's affair ended, there was a ferocity in me. As a pure man, you can't live under the protection of others for the rest of your life. What's more, he still has a blood feud on his back. One day in the future, if you face a terrifying enemy, you can't always count on the people around you. Shed for myself. Instead of like that, it's better to find a crook tree and hang it as soon as possible. Speaking of me, I took the mahogany dagger from my arms. Right to the big hand you caught. Wrote a word. There are words in the mouth that say Tianfa kills chickens. Daifa kills chickens. Human hair kills chicken. The name of the dead gift in Qixian County is urgent. Finish the spell. A golden light emerges from the dead line. Head on. In the blink of an eye, it was printed on the palm of the attacking giant hand. The mummy 3 meters away was suddenly struck by lightning. Eyes full of desperate fear. After a few violent tremors, it's too late to make a sound. It shattered to the ground in a bang explosion. After the smoke clears, a black mist drifted out of the mummy. Fly straight to Li Zhao's villa. The word death turned into a ball of golden light and arrived at the cervical spine. Rush into the villa in a blink of an eye. Go to another mummy. And then the next second, there was a loud bang. Mincemeat and bones flying. Li Zhao, who bore the brunt, held miserably. After flying out and hitting Li Feng, the two fell hard to the ground together. Li Jinlong is even worse. It's a coincidence that the bone is dead right into his left eye. He covered his eyes and wailed. Blood gushed down the fingers. Li Feng, who was worried about his only bloodline, endured the pain. Pushed Li Zhao aside. Rolling and crawling, he hugged Li Jinlong and checked it out. How are you, son? Don't scare me. After Li Zhao got up, run hysterically to the statue of the evil god. There was a look of disbelief on his face. Impossible. That's not possible. 3 hairy boys. How can I break my 5-way death curse? You're all going to die. You must all die. Give up. From one of the stinky pottery pots. Took out 3 10 centimeters high. Stinky dough man. Then bite the index finger. Smeared the blood on the doll. There are magnets in the mouth. 5-way gods, 5-way gods. 5-way advent of disease removal nails. Yama wants you to die 3 times. Never leave anyone until the 5th watch. You just wait for the head to fall and die. After chanting the spell, just pick one up. Doll with my birthday written on it. Broken neck. At the same time, in Fengdu City, Kui Fujin, who was flipping through the files. Suddenly I found the bamboo slips in front of me. The 3 words Chinese 9 difficulties flicker slightly. He quickly pinched his fingers to calculate, then a furious river. There is only one person left in this vein. How can I tolerate the harm of dirty people like you? After saying that, he waved his sleeve robe. A gust of wind swept out of the underworld. That family has infinite merits. But he was victimized by the wicked. Already unbearable. How can their only descendant be sold? The little fairy child is in Li Zhao's villa. The yin wind issued by Judge Kui came here in an instant. Doll in his hand suddenly ignited a miserable white ghost fire. The flame spread very fast. Blink Kung Fu. She burned Li Zhao's right hand to nothing but bones. Severe pain let Li Zhao become even more hysterical. There was a mad look on his wrinkled face. It's impossible to shout twice in a row. How could it be Mingfu ghost fire? And he doesn't believe in evil. You must die today. After getting rid of the mummy with the 5-kill technique, I'm relieved too. Go home and go back to La Liu first. At this time, he came over. Mr. Z kills chickens and uses knives. This is Taoist farming. 3 kills is more than enough for 1 kid. Jaxian, today, I feel that I have made a lot of progress in Taoism. It can be used. I smiled and answered officially, Brother Huiliu. And you know why? And he thought for a moment. He voiced his guess. The little gentleman was given the art of changing the skin again. Then suppressed with the general's earrings. So the aura is not smooth. A while ago, you gave the earrings to little girl Fernay. Reiki is no longer limited. Naturally, you can use the countdown. I was overjoyed to hear his explanation. From then on, I will be able to protect everyone. At this time, Huiliu carefully explained. Never use forbidden techniques like the 3 kills again. Especially not to say things like no one is famous. At least until Mr. Little breaks through the mystery in the tire. Shouldn't be used like this. I didn't understand what he meant. 6th brother Zhehong's teacher is in Bao. This is the formula recorded in Puzi's inner chapter. Hearing this, Gray La Liu slapped himself on the forehead. I was negligent. Mr. Z studied Taoism at the beginning. The emphasis is reversed. Throw out a random urban trick. There is no such thing as normal output. These are taboo by other people. A desperate move. If you don't understand the basics, it's easy to get obsessed in the long run. Say it. He took out half a Taoist book from his arms and handed it to me. The book is written on yellowed rice paper. Now it looks like an old object. It was 400 years ago. By chance, come across a way to get here. Gray 6, who realized the opportunity was coming, kneeling at each other's feet without moving for 3 months. Pray for a way to teach yourself the art of practicing at home. The way is impatient with being entangled by Gray 6. It also happens to be an extremely dangerous thing to do. People do it, so it's hard to agree. Yinming, as long as Huiliu completes this, it will be bestowed by Taoism. In the end, although the task explained by the way was completed, but the Hui family killed nearly 1,000 elves. Even Huiliu himself. It was also by the 3rd Grandpa Hu himself. Just barely survived. Even at such a high cost. The only way is to take out a book. Introductory Taoist Classics. I ended up tearing off half of it. Throw it to the gray old 6.5 volumes and then float away. Certainly, these painful and poignant past events he did not say. Just explaining. In this half-book, recorded some simple basic legal decisions. Feel free to take a look if you are interested. I clasped my fists to thank you, 6th brother. I used to hand over your calligraphy to 6th brother. You can also pass it on to your descendants Liazuo to repay. But just as I finished speaking, a heavy microbit suddenly descended from above. The sound of the clock directly shrouded everyone in it. I was gasping for air under the pressure. Looking around unknowingly, Chen Daji was also shocked what happened. Why are you suddenly so heavy? Gray Lao Liu's complexion changed greatly when he saw this. Quickly explained that this is the pity of Mr. Tianfa. I go home and keep it in my heart. How can Nai's luck be shallow? Insufficient background. Never dare to delusional. Passed down from generation to generation. Please take back what Mr. Z just said. Despite saying so. But there was a deep grievance and depression on the face of Gray 6. Lost but not bad by my eyes. Gray 6 shook his head with a wry smile. But laughing, but crying, it's all right. I'm used to it. I know I'll see you at home. What is the purpose of human life? To put it simply, it is not to let family and friends. Can lovers be happy? Jianhui Lao Liu's appearance at this time is in my heart. Out of anger. Although the source of the great stress has been guessed. But it's still hard to raise your head. waving his fist at the night sky and the bright sword of heaven and earth. Brother Huiliu and I are in love. Born and died for me many times. The younger generation is willing to sacrifice their own yin, virtue and longevity. Change home and choose 3 people from each generation to practice. The secretary under my ship saw the scene. Gray 6 moved, nothing to add. Kneel on the ground with a plop. He hurriedly shouted that the little gentleman is as kind as the sea. I will remember it from generation to generation when I go home. Dare not forget every second. But this must not be done. Please take back what you just said. But it's too late now. The calm sky is suddenly covered with thunder and lightning. The pressure is getting heavier and heavier. The crowd had to kneel to the ground. Gray 6 strong propped up. It's not good to open a pale face. This is the wrath of heaven. The pressure on the sky is getting heavier and heavier. The little mice hiding around also ran over. Around us. With tears in my eyes, I keep talking to the sky. Gray 6 crawled on the ground, rode desperate death. I went home and realized I was wrong. Please don't punish Mr. Z. Chen Daji doesn't know what happened. But we also know that we are being bullied. Although this product is usually bigoted. But I never lacked the courage to die for my friends. He was under tremendous pressure. He punched himself in the nose. Then he pointed to the sky and cursed. What the hell are you doing? Bullying is not. My grandmother used to say that murder is too much. Brother Huiliu has kowtowed to you. What else do you want? Don't touch the boss and the Gray 6th brother. Otherwise I will fight with you. The 6th child was infected by his pride. In addition, the previous grievances came to my mind. I can't help but scream that the world is unfair. Unfair fate. I went home unconvinced. The voice just fell. A great force fell from the sky and was about to hit him. I saw this and hurried an arrow. Stopped in front of him. Bang, dreaming of the ease that rises behind me. Zhao Long's whisker shadow was instantly scattered. The whole person is also flying out. Hit the courtyard wall hard. Chen Daji took out the slingshot and roared at me. You're going too far. But not before he slingshots the sky. The force roared towards him. The soaring man screamed and flew high. And landed right on Negabano. After the pulls, the pressure on the field suddenly disappears. Everything is back to the way it was. I stood up and tried to resist. But then Gray 6 suddenly stopped me. I saw a faint golden light flashing on his body. There are 3 little mice in the group. Same state. God granted our request. Gray 6 had tears in his eyes. I couldn't stop shaking. Chen Daji waved his arms in excitement after listening. I can't beat it in vain. Chang Baiyi's crying voice also came out. Mr. Z, Brother Huiliu. If you're okay, help me get rid of the little shriveled calf on me. Fucking hit me 7 inches. See Huilao you like this. I'm really happy for him. The reason for July is that someone hurt us. But it can let the Hui family inherit. It's a blessing in disguise. Chen Daji cursed. What someone? I guess it's Li Jinlong. Since the last time the 3 of us had a fight with him, he never showed up every day. Hearing this, I suddenly realized that something was wrong. Wait for the 3 of us. Zhao Fei is afraid that something will happen. After saying that, I hurried towards Zhao Fei. As soon as I arrived at the door, I heard howls. Opened the door, I saw Zhao Fei clutching his kidney blood's left eye. Collapsed to the ground. Between his eyebrows. Constant bleeding from the throat and chest. This scene immediately scared Chen Daji. But he always yelled together. He jumped on Zhao Fei. Don't forget to remind me loudly that the boss is about to lie down. There are snipers. Chang Bei lifted Chen Daji up with his tail. Snipe my ass. The little fat man doesn't even know the bullet money. He was cursed. The little fat man will die after pressing for a while. After listening, I walked quickly to Zhao Fei. Without hesitation, he chanted the evil spell. And keep clicking on his eyebrows, Daofa nature. Wuji is a taboo. Take off Zhao Fei's shirt. Lend me some more of your pure sheep blood charms. I'm going to soothe his soul. Chen Daji is still very reliable at the critical moment. After stripping Zhao Fei, then, he sacrificed his nose without hesitation. I quickly stained his nosebleed with a mahogany sword. On Zhao Fei's chest, draw the soul talisman on the back, and the hexagonal amulet. Liuding Liujia Taoist martial god Ming, the sixth Jiazi from the records of the Pre-Qin dynasty. In square numbers, it is often used in military applications. Instead, you can capture Zhao Jingzi as the frame size is completed. Inidia, Jia suddenly drifted out of Zhao Fei's body. Then it gradually dissipated in midair. Zhao Fei's face completely calmed down. The wound is slowly healing. Chen Daji was relieved to see that he was fine. This kid turned to sleep. And I breathed a sigh of relief. Let him sleep with a serious face. He should be messed up tonight. Let's avenge him. At this time in Li Zhao's villa, the doll with Zhao Fei's name written in front of him. The doll suddenly exploded. Li Feng was also affected by many changes tonight, frightened out of my mind. Seeing the sorcery, he was forced to persuade the girl. Why don't we just forget it? Li Zhao's face showed a mad look. I'm not reconciled, I don't believe it anymore. Can't handle 3 stinky little brats. Come with me. After saying that, he took the 2 of them out of the villa. After more than an hour, it will be expensive. In a cave behind the wooden mountain. The cave is very small. I can only hunch over and cap my waist a little bit. When I walked out of Yili, I suddenly became enlightened. The surrounding walls are inlaid with 2 rows. Ignited bronze drum lamp. You enter a hall and it gets brighter. It's just that the light from the lamp is that miserable white. Burning lamp oil exudes a greasy sweetness. It smells good at first. It's been a long time. It makes you feel groggy. Just after entering the hall, the faces of the 2 were extremely pale. I saw the middle of the cave. A bizarre 5-meter-high statue is enshrined. The statue has 4 heads and 8 arms and is thin. Only the cracked belly bulges high. Around the statue, there are also 8 strange little gods in different shapes. They may be missing arms and legs, or incredibly ugly, or deformity or visceral valgus. Anyway, there is no normal one. Looking at the statue of the ghost mother in front of you, he gave a weird laugh. This is after my mother learned to lower her head and came back. Stumbled across. I copied some of the words on the surrounding walls. Asked someone to see it. I don't know anybody. Only an old ghost told me. These words predate oracle bone inscriptions. Should be over 5,000 years old. It doesn't matter if you are not yourself. It's a pity that I don't know the name of this great god. Li Zhaobian said. He stretched out his bloody hand to touch the giant idol. Ask God to take you in. Ask God to take care of those 3 brats for me. At the same time, we take Zhao Fei. I drove back to my grandmother's house overnight. Grandma was very happy to see us back. But then I noticed something was wrong with my face. Why do you smell like soy sauce? Who wants to harm you? He recounted what happened tonight. Brother Huiliu has chased after Gamu Mountain. Unfortunately, the whereabouts of the evil cultivator were still not calculated. Let him get away. Grandma frowned when she heard that. Gamu Mountain used to be called Ghostwood Mountain. It's not a peaceful place. Rumor has it that there lives a terrifying evil god. Big Ghost Mother, he is very fierce. The scourge of the surrounding people. It's too big. Too many people have died. I know there is a lot of resentment. Finally, he became the king. Only then did this evil god subdue Ghost Mother Mountain. Ghost Mother Mountain is called Ripe. It became the current Ghostwood Mountain. But no matter who it is, don't try to bully my grandson. Wait for Grandma to vent your anger. After Grandma said that, she bowed her hands to Chang Ba Yi. I have to bother the 8th master to prepare 3 lives and 9 rites. The old woman wants to invite her ancestors to come today. The 8th master dare not neglect. And then he waves his arm. A dark table appeared out of thin air in the yard. There are also the heads of cows, sheep and pigs on the table. Grandma then put cinnabar on the left and right sides of her face. Bai Zhalanfan applies 3 oil paints. It looks very eerie and mysterious. Then let me and Chendaji have some incense. We quickly took out 8 torches. The thick sandalwood in the 3 wines is ignited separately. Between the curls of blue smoke, Grandma said loudly, "Please send soldiers." Immediately there are 4 fingers pointing to the horse, holding a jet black horn, coming in heavy armor. Stand at the 4 corners of the altar, southeast and northwest. Grandma's eyes are closed. A bleak and quaint syllable from the mouth. This voice speaks and seems to sing. It feels mysterious and distant. After a moment he shouted, "Blood wine." I took out the horn knife neatly. Swipe your wrist. No blood was wasted at all. All dripped into the wine jar. Grandma's voice was even more solemn. Yajing Tianchi. Everything nourishes people. As the voice falls, I lifted a bowl of wine over my head and scored 3 defeats. Then sprinkle hard into the sky. Tornado convolution. The evil wine is as if it has been swallowed in one bite. Not a drop fell. The second forbidden place is in the thick of virtue. I picked up the second bowl. The wine is raised above the head again. 3 prayers of respect sprinkled on the altar. Evil wine is like water poured on the desert. In the blink of an eye, it seeps into the ground and there are no drips left. Sanjing ancestor has boundless merits. The voice from Grandma's mouth is getting louder and louder. It's like thunder on the horizon. I picked up the 3rd bowl of evil wine. 3 consecutive defeats were placed on the table to sacrifice Sancheng. Chendaji heard the words. Do not hesitate to face the cattle and sheep. Pierce the pig in the head. The blood they shed. A dense row forms on the altar. Quaint and mysterious symbols. The symbol glowed with a strange blood light. Like jumping and like dancing. Grandma's song Niancheng is getting more and more anxious. Lightning and thunder began around the altar. Liyue raised for paper figures and paper horses. Then blow the horn of desolation. The name of the bell and drum for a while. Grandma knelt respectfully on the altar, shouting in the mouth that someone wants to harm the minister. Zhao Sanja Chunliang Jr. Please also ask your ancestors to administer justice to them. The voice just fell. The 3rd glass of blood wine suddenly disappeared. It's like being drunk by an invisible person. Then the thick fog condensed into a giant golden eagle. Chang Bayi on the side exclaimed when he saw this. Ancient Terran totem blood eagle. I didn't expect the bloodline in Long Po Po. Inherited from the ancient East. Giant baby. After circling the altar for a week, the wings shook and disappeared into the night sky. Go straight to the statue of the evil god in Gimu Mountain. He's very fast. In a blink of an eye, he appeared in the cave of Gimu Mountain. A pair of eagle eyes swept across like blood. Finally, she stayed on Li Jiao. Li Jiao was suddenly scared of the ghost street hat. Shouting for help, Lord New Gui, help. Lord Talisman, help. Voice falls to pale cow skulls. And a huge bat suddenly flies out. Directly stopped in front of the blood eagle. Li Jiao felt much more at ease. He quickly chanted the spell. Awaken all the mummies in the black outline. Then he pointed at the blood yin floating in the air. Kill him and tear him apart. When the mummy heard this, he immediately swarmed up, but within a few steps they suddenly uncharacteristically. Kiki stood there and shivered. The blood eagle looked at everything in front of him. Ruili's eyes flashed with disdain. After a loud warbler, the blood eagle's wings vibrate. A light flashed through his claws, rammed into Li Jiao brazenly. What cow skull? What giant bat? Like a cookie hit by a hammer, turned into powder in an instant. Hong Meng's charging potential does not cut directly towards Li Jiao. Critical moment. Stimulated by death, he screamed again and again. He bit his tongue and spat out a mouthful of blood essence. The blood essence turned into black mist and blocked the front of Hong Meng. Bang bang. Li Jiao was directly broken by my arm. He hurriedly hid behind the statue of the ghost mother. Everyone is not idle. See him without malice. So I gave the master a bow. What you're looking for is a little devil. He did break into my house just now. But then it blew up and disappeared. Chen Daji also came over at this time, this bald brother. Are you from Jingguang Temple? Then do you know the great cuz of Kongchen? We have a good relationship. The blood sprayed wildly was drenched on the statue by his forbidden spell. Ghost Talisman Faceless Picosmosis. I don't want the main family to be my old friend of Jingguang Temple. The poor monk is rude. Seeing the ghost Buddha has no face. Kindness in the heart is gradually inspired. Grandma's heart moved. I have an idea. It's a big deal. Don't when stand you go outside the door. Come in and have a seat. Big ghost mother God save me. I quickly whispered to my grandmother's ear. Reminded him that he is from Jingguang Temple. I'm afraid it's a ghost Buddha without a face. Let him in and start dangerous. Grandma smiled and explained it was okay. He still has goodwill in his heart. It's better to try him once. Ghost Fleur hesitated and also walked intimately into the small put the courtyard. Big Buddha behind. Reduced to 2 meters in size. Big ghost mother God save me. After a moment, everyone sat down. Chen Daji sees the ghost Buddha red robe hanging diagonally outside the He subconsciously went forward to help him approve. Do you have to wear clothes for cold weather? What should I do if I suddenly catch a cold? Chen Daji's subconscious action. Let the ghost Buddha remember when he was a child. Masterly foe. Night. Always getting dressed from behind. Therefore, the kindness in the heart is stronger. Just then, Namo Amitabha. Thank you for your care. There is kindness in the heart, coupled with the protection surrounding Buddhist Buddha faceless. Chap finally disappeared completely. Seeing roommates take a turn, I hurried to strike while the iron was hot. Prepare some paper and pens and bring them here. Ambassador, I have a Buddhist unknown. I hope you will enlighten me. Black light flashed on the statue of the ghost mother. When it comes to the Buddha's ghost Buddha, he has no face and dares not to answer the donor. If you have any questions, must know everything. Say it. It actually quickly condensed into a shadow. An eerie voice came from the mouth of the phantom. Imprisoned by the Ming army for thousands of years, I was finally awakened by the shadow. Li Jiao was overjoyed when she saw this. It was me. I woke you up. Dear God, please kill this guy for your disciple. After the phantom listens, you laugh. Just kill people. After saying that, he turned to look at Zuyan. This look suddenly froze on the spot. It turned out to be a witch. I don't know if it's a witch coming. No offense intended. Please forgive me. Li Jiao, who was on the side, saw this and opened her mouth in a panic. Why are you kowtowing to that guy? You're not finished yet. He was flown out by a palm mountain. Ghost Mother then looked at Blood Yin respectfully. Shadow is very important to me. You need to rely on him to lead the column out of the 18th floor. The prison is seen on the thin surface of this seat. Please also respect the witch and interweave salutes to see people. He will be imprisoned forever in the Great Exchange Hell. Guarantee that this time I will not ask for death. It can also be regarded as exporting evil energy to the witch. How about this? Li Jiao listened to the words of the evil god of the ghost mother, so scared that he turned around and ran away. Even the already sluggishly Feng father and son can't care. You can't do this to me. He's pretty fast. But the ghost moves faster. I saw the black air coming from the ghost's body. It was as if he was tied down by ropes. Thrown in front of the blood eagle. Rope formed by black gas. Seems to be extremely corrosive. Burnt plum gum skin. Screaming. The voice of the big ghost mother spans 100 miles. It resounded directly on the altar. Everyone was suspicious when they heard it. I didn't expect a little evil cultivator. It actually led to such a big ghost. Grandma then cut her index finger and dripped blood. These evil gods cannot be left behind. Good and evil have been at odds since ancient times, although the old woman is at low risk. But today, even if you try your best, the eldest grandson has to get rid of the harm for the people. I dare not neglect after listening. Raise your glass and lose 3 in a row. Rise to the sky when you get to Hummington, directly into the cave. Ziying felt that her grandmother's heart was wise all her life. He spread his wings and crashed straight into the statue of the ghost mother. But the evil god that has existed for thousands of years, is it a kind person? Just got stronger than people. Ghost mothers are forced to become addicted. Seeing that Tan is not close, he naturally has no taboo. Call you a disgrace. You really think you are helpless? To hell with it. After saying that, the shadow turned into black smoke and attached it to the statue. It's like coming alive. As if slowly raising his right hand to meet the blood eagle. As the statue moves, millions of dust fell. Tell the truth in real time in the blink of an eye. The blood eagle has already collided with the statue. There was no explosion, not even a sound. Both. It's like two substances with completely opposite properties. After the encounter, the silent fusion disappears. Not a trace remains. As if nothing had happened. The statue that lost its right arm issued an earth-shattering roar. The snow in my whole cinnamon mountain is thin and crisp. At the same time, a monk sitting cross-legged in Jingguang Temple suddenly opened his eyes. Namo Amitabha. Demons are born. I don't go to hell, who goes to hell? After saying that, the sleeves fluttered. Go straight to Gamu Mountain. And after he left, a young monk slowly formed. The monk wore a menacing bronze mask, holding a black knife in his left hand, holding a blood-stained letter in his right hand. The faceless ghost Buddha, who has officially disappeared for many days. He would rather laugh at the endless Wutai Buddha's son and Buddha's son. And then he flashed. He chased straight after the old monk. At this time in my mountain, countless forced grandmothers pounced. Vomited blood. I went up and supported him in a strong and worried manner. Grandma shook her head. Struggling to stand up, I don't mind. Quick homing. Kill Li Jiao first. Never let that big ghost be born. After all, in the sound of 4-fingered trumpets, Grandma does a weird dance. With dance steps and grand spells. This spell is mainly pronounced broken. Sound to the soul. And wait for the ghost weather to be cold and ruthless. After the death of the ghosts and souls, they will forever fall back to the virtual sea. After Grandma finished the spell, he reached out and grabbed 3 bloodstains on his left face. Then the blood was poured against for teams of paper people and paper horses. When I saw this, I quickly grabbed the jar containing shoe wine. Also splashed it towards the paper man and paper horse. Paper soldier guardian. Killing is ruthless. Although the paper man and paper horse are still struggling to blow the horn, but a shadow of blood flew out of his body. Go straight to Gamu Mountain. From the shadow of blood. In a blink of an eye, he flew to the cave where Li Jiao was located. Like an electric light pouncing on the trapped Li Jiao, Li Jiao exclaimed. He hurriedly threw out a few black blind enemies. But pointing at people and horses ignores everything. Just rushed over. In a miserable howl. This crazy evil cultivator. like a sand sculpture blown away by a strong wind. Disappeared in the blink of an eye. Only a black humanoid mark was left on the ground. The blood that did it all. Then he returned to his body again. Grandma smiled slightly when she saw this. Next up is the evil god. After blood wine. And I cut my hand. Drop the blood into the jar. Chendaji is the most loyal person in the world. Good things come together, bad things come together. Cut his arm without hesitation. Also dripped into the wine jar. Just after the blood and spirits were mixed. It's like boiling. A lot of bubbles popped out. Chendaji and I will continue. Together they threw the 9 altars into the sky, then a drumming and a bell ringing. It took all his strength. Suddenly bells and drums are famous. Bugle shaking. Wasp. Lightning and thunder. Then 3 shadows in the air slowly condensed and formed. A strange bird with a howling wind in the world. Strange birds spread their wings and are surrounded by electric light. The big man was burning with flames. Especially a pair of eyes. Just like two bull-eyed stars. There is also a huge bear with wings hidden from the world. Looking at the 3 shadows in the sky, couldn't help but exclaim. It turned out to be 3 groups of totem bears of the human race. Xuanyuan Giant God Yan Emperor and the Thunder Yellow Bird of Julie tribe. No, but he didn't expect this to happen. Even Grandma looked shocked. I can actually invite myself. King of Totem of Shenju 3 ancient totems. Please have mercy. Make decisions for unfilial descendants. The Thunder Emperor, who represents Julie's inadequacy, has the least killing intent. A pair of giant eyes swept towards Mount Gimu like thunder and lightning. Ghost Mother Evil God ferocious and cunning. I see things are not going well. Only a little ghost was left to block the disaster. Dived into the ground. In a hole. The little ghost has been caught in the middle of the altar. Zhuanyuan sounded cold. Why is it just a stand-in? Thunder Yellow Bird explained that the evil god escaped to fast. Has escaped into hell and disappeared. Giant Guardian Emperor slowly spoke. It sounded like thunder. My Shenju man should be happy. You two boys killed him yourself. He looked at Chendaji without hesitation. After getting sick, he went straight to the kid. One with a horn knife. One takes out the copper coin sword. He slashed the kid in front of him fiercely. The kid didn't even howl. It turned into a wisp of black smoke and was swallowed by the altar. The Thunder Emperor nodded, but the evil god had been severely injured. You don't have to worry anymore. I can't wait to enter that place of misunderstanding. I won't continue to pursue for you. After saying that, the figure gradually disappeared. Grandma quickly knelt on the ground when she heard the words. So that's good. Thank you, ancestors. Only the horn man. The totem eyes wrapped in flames stared at me. If you can break through the mystery in the womb, can come to the ancestral land to find then you're done. His body was in flames. One of the clumps didn't dissipate. In an instant, it disappeared between my eyebrows, finally forming a faint flame mark. I clutched my head in confusion. Here it is. Grandma saw this and hurriedly stepped forward to interrupt me. It cannot be said that this is a gift from the ancestors. What happened today must not be announced. I nodded seriously. Don't worry, Grandma. Just don't know. When will I be able to break through the mystery of the fetus? Grandma smiled and comforted after listening. Cause and effect have their own arrangements. At the same time, in the Cinnamon Mountains, an old monk is walking through the snow, carefully searching for traces of evil spirits. But soon after he suddenly stopped. Then put your hands together and slowly turn around. Namo Amitabha. The ghost Buddha master is remembered. Why not give your blood? The penniless monk. He just finished speaking. Immediately gusts of wind blew around. The scenery in front of me suddenly changed. A young monk holds a blood-stained letter, kneeling in front of the collapsed Buddha and laughing wildly. Around, scattered with 100 or so gnawed
blood
human
moon
skeletons.
in the sky.
Corpse stench. There are ghosts crying and wolves howling in the
Ghost
chanting.
Buddha
faceless slowly turned his head, revealing the hideous bronze mask. Since you know that this seat is behind you, dare to go so far? Aren't you afraid of death? He looked at the old monk Kongchen and smiled wildly. Your Buddha children and grandchildren have been killed by me. Kong Chan was stunned for a moment when he heard the words. Then he put his hands together and chanted a Buddha's name. The faceless monk has always only killed monks on Mount Wutai. How could you make a move against my Jingguang temple? Monks don't talk wildly. Faceless monk, stop joking. A cold light flashed in the eyes of the ghost Buddha after hearing
I have
committed a murder. Are you still afraid of lying? I haven't finished what I have to say today. There was a sudden chant in the distance. Turn around and look. I saw a group of young monks knocking on the wood and fish slowly came. Kong Chan saw this and hurried forward to inquire.
Why are you
here? A young monk replied respectfully. I'm waiting to feel the breath of the ghost Buddha. Therefore, he came to support. Abbot Kong Chan smiled indifferently after listening. Sure enough, the faceless monk
Ghost
did not
Buddha
attack
immediately
them.
snorted
Master
and
Kong
angrily
Chan
shut
didn't
up.
say much either. Went straight to the front of a group of young monks, cross-legged together. Read and write scriptures. The sound of chanting becomes louder and louder. Originally, the black stench
Also
emitted
slowly
around the
disappeared.
ghost Buddha. After half the incense time, the bones in front of the ancient Buddha began to
Ghost
glow
Buddha
with a
faceless
faint
even
golden
unknowingly.
light, reaching out to touch the bronze mask on his face. Looks like he's trying to take him off his face. See the scene? The compassion on Kong Chan's face is even stronger, accelerated the speed of chanting. But just then, a bald man suddenly appeared not far away, holding two black clay pots. Like a walking dead, oblique shoulder hip pull. In an extremely bizarre pose, little by little, walked towards the faceless ghost Buddha. Master Kongchen is alert, chanting nonstop. Wave your sleeves lightly. Faint Buddha light splashes stillness towards the twisted bald head. Namo Amitabha. The donor should sit in the courtroom
the moment
to die
Buddha light
and
touches
be
the
released
bald
early.
head.
But it was blocked by a layer of black light emitted from his body. He is still ignorant and faceless towards the ghost Buddha. Remove the ghost Buddha and have no thoughts.
The palm
At
clenched
this
the black
time,
pen hand.
he suddenly opened his eyes. Sure, a beast. Is there no Buddha here as scheduled? After saying that, he dodged and rushed over. Black gas flashed in the eyes of the bald mummy. He raised his hands with difficulty. Two black clay pots filled with oil hit the ghost Buddha faceless. What is the fate of ghosts and Buddhas
Well
without
alive.
faces? It's a once in 1,000-year-old Buddhist monk. Before death, full of evil. Heaven and earth are incompatible. After that, it struggled between ghosts
Now in a
and
bad
Buddhas
mood.
for nearly 2,000 years.
Buddhism
has reached a level that is eye-catching. How could it be smashed by Dajars? He waved. Blood monk's robe. The clay pot full of body oil suddenly flew back. There was a loud
upside down.
explosion. The bald mummy was blown to pieces in an instant. The ghost who has done all this is filial piety. Even a little beast dares to offend. Come to me, he said to surround himself with black gas. There are even faint things. The wind was blowing, like a wailing valve. Kong Chan's complexion suddenly changed greatly
Ghost
when
Buddha
he saw
killing
this.
again.
The evil energy is about to be suppressed. Kong Chan's complexion changed drastically when he saw this. He quickly took out a yellowing bamboo alkali from his arms, hoping to get his remaining sanity back. Patriarch mercy. Don't you dare kill. Ghost Buddha, faceless eyes, ghost fire flashing, slowly turned to look at him. What do you call Ben? Kanchen Master Classical Chinese. Lead the young monks to kneel in unison. All unfilial descendants of Jingguang
Meet
Temple.
my
45 and 52 generations of abbots. And he opened one of the pages. It says, Fa Qing, the 52nd abbot of Jingguang Temple. Born in Jianguan New Year. Unknown year by year. I've been looking for a chance to show you. This is Patriarch Miaozi of Jingguang Temple. It is my 4th and 52nd generation presiding over the great monk. Ghost Buddha takes over the main Jain. After seeing the above content, he showed doubts. How come? Shouldn't this host be my senior brother Dharma
Why do
Realm?
you
Still admit that I am the presiding monk? Kong Chen explained with tears. Miaozi records that the ancestors of the Dharma
only
Realm are
temporarily
orderly.
waiting
for Patriarch Fa Qing to serve as
Wait
abbot.
for the
Patriarch to return from his studies at Mount Wutai. He steps aside. Ghost Buddha finished listening. The black chests around him quickly dispersed. Even the blood-colored monk's robes
He
turned
looked up to the
gray. Sky and cried out
Guilty.
to senior brother. Fa Qing Dam. In bursts of roars. The dark clouds above the ghost Buddha's faceless head quickly dissipated. More and more black gas is overflowing from his body. The whole body gradually becomes transparent. A group of young monks saw this, sat and kneeling before the ghost Buddha, reciting the original vows of the
Country with or
Jizong
without
Bodhisattva
hell,
through thousands
with
of
or without
worlds of
Buddhism.
Naji. After the chanting, he cowed out respectfully. Call me in unison. Wait until the founder network is upgraded. Just then, a baby ghost crept out of the ground. The little devil has a cunning face, while everyone is not on guard. I walk to a seaside valley with my hands and feet lightly. Smile and smash it into pieces. Then it turned into a black smoke. Fleeing into the distance. The owner of this sea bone. It is the ghost Buddha who has no face against the great senior brother Dharma Realm Master. Sudden change. Let everyone be overwhelmed. The black
for a while.
paint has dissipated, and most
my
of
hands
the ghost
trembled.
Buddha immortal stone is stunned. I want to grab the broken bones that blow in the wind. Dharma brother. Ghost Buddha was very guilty of his senior brother. Now watching the bones being destroyed. I was furious. He growled up to the sky. The dark clouds are gathering rapidly. In a blink of an eye, thunder exploded. Kong Chan's complexion changed dramatically again. The black gas that was originally floating
Quickly
around
reassemble into the ghost Buddha
a
body.
big mouth of the ghost Buddha. The remnant soul power is broken in 100 miles, instantly swallowed by the still tree. Rumbling. The collapsed Buddha behind him rose again. It's just that this big Buddha is not compassionate. His face was twisted. Blood and tears in my eyes. The blood-stained letter glowed with black air. Hovering beside. All beings suffer. Life is hard work. Bitter worse. This book is compassionate. This will save you one by one. Ghost Buddha finished. Raised the right hand surrounded by strange energy. He killed the creatures around him. Seeing this, Master Kong Chen hurriedly stepped forward. Protect the many disciples behind. The sea of misery is endless. Back to shore. Can't stop it. Patriarch, wake up. The ghost Buddha watched and knelt in front of him. A group of young monks with worried faces. And the tearful master of Kongzhen. Holding his head, he let out a painful growl. Heaven is unfair. Buddha is not merciful. My fault alone. Why let the bones of the senior brother disappear? You go back to Jingguang Temple. If you don't want it, you can't come out. And then there were lights in his eyes. His figure turned into a ray of blood. Quickly chase in the direction where the
Any
little
living
creature
escaped.
along the road was dashed with blood. Immediately turned into dry bones. With his colleague. In Grandma's yard. He seems to feel something like Rapunzel. He looked solemnly in the direction of Mount Gamu. How can there be a big evil reality? Is it the ghost axe this time? There are also 5 major counties
4 of them
that
are
have also
extremely
sensed
fast.
evil energy. Not for a while. I came to Gamu Mountain tacitly. They meet and they nod. Brother Huilu spoke first. You are also all for that will. The devil of the scholar is here. I didn't expect it. Bai Wei smiled after listening. You are not the only ones who want to appear in front of Mr. Z. Looked solemnly into the distance. Ghost Buddha is very evil. We can't let him cause trouble again and endanger the people. The 4 immortals on the rock wall are ready to launch a pursuit. There was a sudden gust of wind. A mummy with red eyes jumped out with teeth and claws. See the scene? The head of the Bai family issued a disdain. Then he directly bumped into it. Do animals not know how to die? Dry as this level of dirt. In the eyes of the 4 major immortal family chiefs. Just like flies and ants. Therefore, the other 3 fairy families did not stop. Bai Wei wanted to get rid of it quickly, to catch up with the big killer in front. But at the moment when the 2 sides collided, I saw the mummy explode by itself, puffing out clouds of black mist. Cover the surrounding distance of several meters. Corpse debris blown by the wind. Go to Bai Wui's blindfold. The head of the Bai family subconsciously blocked his eyes with his hands. A statue emerged from the black fog. 4 or 5 meters high 1-armed stone statue. It's the ghost mother evil god. He smiled gloomily. I've been waiting for you for a long time. Take the statue and say it with 1 arm. He punched Bai Wei in the chest. It happened suddenly. The defenseless Bai Wei screamed. Just fly out upright upside down. Ghost Mother Evil God ordered Wu Gui to replace Wu Zi with his blood essence. Reverse bed Yasha. Open the ghost door and let the invisible Junior sister Wang Liangsu listens to me practice. Wang Ducheng sees. While chanting, he opened his fingers and grabbed a handful stuffed in his flesh and blood. Started to chew. And the injured by Dreadnought. The body began to slowly vanish and dissipate. The chewed statue of the ghost mother. It's like coming alive. Growing clumps of wriggling flesh. It looks horrific and disgusting. The black fog clears. Only then did the other immortals see the scene in front of them clearly. Chang Huayuan frowned and neck wrinkled. Shocked. 8th. It's not that the evil god of the ghost mother has been imprisoned in the underworld. Is it hell? Why did it appear again? Long family Xian and Hu family Xian on the side saw this. Chang is not disabled. Let's learn the power of the evil god today. Good and evil. Don't blame me for waiting for you to deceive more and less. After the 2 immortals said that, they screamed. One is over 50 meters into their main body. 2 bulges on the head. The whole body is shining with colorful light. The 4 corners are focused like knives. And a 3-meter-tall green. The 6-tailed giant fox appeared at the same time, facing the attack of the 2 big horses. The evil god of the ghost mother does not dare to despise too much. That's so great. In order to draw the ball reef and the 6-tailed fox with 2 feet, although it is not as good as the demon fairy, but not much different. It's lively today. He said to wave his arms. Dozens of little devils immediately emerged. He swarmed up and attacked the 2 Chumashian head-on. Focus on the roar. And there was a strong wind in the mountains. The 6-tailed demon fox has eyes like saws. When he opened his mouth, he swallowed several little ghosts into his mouth. Lao Yu is not idle at this time. He hurriedly came to the seriously injured Bai Wui's side. I remember. Orthodox Taoist exorcism spells rise and rise in the east. No rebuke for this blessing. Impetuous unknown. Spit 3 tears. Eyes like the sun. In the name of Mr. In a hurry. The mantra is chanted. A burst of light immediately protected by Dreadnought, who fell to the ground. His body finally stopped disappearing. And there is a vague drive to recover. Grey 6 stepped forward quickly. Take a pill out of my arms, stuffed into by Dreadnought's mouth. Then he opened his mouth and explained that this was given to me by Mr. Z. Take back the spiritual energy that was sucked away by the evil god of the Ghost Mother. Darkness. Bai Wuwei was grateful in his heart. Quickly, the plate base began to turn around, complaining about craftsmanship conditioning yin and yang compete for the imperial court. Wandering around. 5 hearts to heaven. Aiming for Mingang. Grey Lao Liu is talking about Taoist rules and dragons and tigers. The love catching and cutting fields. You're not afraid to do what you're told. Put your energy. Pulled back little by little from the silver hell. This will naturally break the magic of Gimu. And as he recovered rapidly, the wriggling flesh of the ghost statue then released quickly. Such a scene made this evil god completely confused, roaring and roaring. What day is the bastard who hit the 5 thunderbolts? The tree was passed on to a mouse. Wei Laoyu actually dared to scold me when he heard that instant rage god of the Ghost Mother dared to scold me. You are courting death. The ghost stance, the elves raise their heads, and there are colleagues 6 carts share the hall with their bare hands. There are 6. Harassment as routine dry thunder. The Heavenly Master has ordered. Make me bleed. In a hurry. As the 6 Grey spell is finished, the entire mountain was instantly filled with fog. 6 Ding vaguely appeared in the fog. Liuji, a 12 positive god phantom. They are each over 10 meters tall. Face or anger or compassion. 12 giant weapons. Kiki smashed towards the evil god of Ghost Mother. I was shocked by my foresight. Endless. Brother Hui Liu can actually summon Liuding Liujia Zhengshen, the real body of the evil god. Most of them are still backlogged in the Inferno, now facing the attack of the 3 major immortal family leaders. He has a million plans. I never thought of it. You will meet the outlier Grey 6. Because throughout history, since the establishment of the spiritual system, there was no Isle. Receive the precedent of Ma Xian as a disciple. Especially the most lowly members of the Hui family don't see that Ma Xian has a fairy character. But that's what mortals call them in the eyes of orthodox decorators. In addition to the 5 major families, Husantai is in charge of the grandfather Hu. The other 4 are not even Mao God. It's okay to deal with a lonely ghost. The evil god of the Ghost Mother and gold can be regarded as stealing chickens. The rice is completely bullied by the tiger. He stood up and worked hard with the 3 immortal families. His eyes float away from time to time. Damn it. Why hasn't that Buddhist brat escaped yet? If you don't hurry up, the ancestor is really going to capsize in the gutter. On the other side, Ghost Buddha Faceless is chasing after the escaped kid, the little devil born of the evil god. I didn't expect Ghost Buddha to be so fierce. Now I'm scared out of my wits. It's hard to make the Ghost Buddha faceless. Lead to the place where the evil god of the Ghost Mother explained. The kid got into physics and disappeared. Although the Ghost Buddha is fierce, but the instinctive sense is still there. Although the black fog ahead is gloomy, but it's upright. Cite the image of an emperor. The evil beast dares to break my senior brother's Dharmakaya. No one can protect you. His eyes flickered. With a wave of the blood-colored monk's robe, got into the fog. He strode to follow in the black fog. I saw 8 of different lengths. Giant stone pillars of various shapes are arranged in the shape of gossip. A giant black stone pass was suppressed in the middle of the stone pillar. Ghost Buddha chased all the way. The little devil is squatting on the stone pass with a terrified face. Ghost Buddha Faceless, raise your hand. Then summon the capture of blood and tears. hit the kid hard. The little devil instinctively wants to run. But out of fear of the ghost mother, I reluctantly held back. You can't kill me. You can't kill me. Just a loud bang. 5 or 6 meters high Buddha statue. Trapped by the yellow light rising from 8 stone pillars. Stalled and half empty. There was a loud bang. 5 or 6 meters high Buddha statue. It was dragged by the yellow light rising from the 8 stone pillars. Can't fall. Suppressing the captive at the stone gate a flicker. Vaguely visible. Yuanbing 3 big characters glowing red. The kid breathed a sigh of relief when he saw this. Sure enough. At this time, Ghost Buddha Faceless has fallen into madness. Didn't notice that at all. He immediately smiled, but this seat wanted to see it. Why can't I kill you? You think that with a sword. Can you stop me, Buddha? And he sat down on his knees. I recited the Buddhist curse. Namosada Tasugadoya. Arageti 3 seconds 3 accompanied by bursts of astonishment. The Buddha statue hanging behind the ghost Buddha. A faint golden light began to glow. The golden light is getting more and more prosperous. The Buddha statue disappeared in the blink of an eye. When it reappeared, it had already smashed down on the kid. With a loud bang. 8 stone pillars, still trees, destroyed and collapsed to the ground. Seeing the little devil is about to disappear, Shai Guanzhong immediately issued a track of Che. Wrap him and run into the distance. Ghost Buddha Faceless was stunned for a moment. Then he got up and chased after him with a smile. It's better not to die. Wait for the seat to catch you. I must crush your soul. Just after the ghost Buddha left, the black sergeant, a 5-meter-tall bone receiver, looked for the dark shadow of the big belly bulge from inside. The shadow laughed arrogantly for 1,000 years. Ancestor, my imprisoned power is finally released. Subsequently, he whistled and flew to the statue of the ghost mother. Before the 3 big immortals can react, it has been integrated with the statue, and suddenly it comes alive. Although it is still a time zone. But it's already smart. Especially a pair of eyes with a fierce light. Gray Old Six saw this and secretly felt that it was not good. Chang Huayuan felt the breath emitted by the other party. Suddenly his face changed. How did the evil god merge and become the king's yin? When Gray Six heard this, he quickly pinched his fingers and explained that this guy used the power of ghosts becoming Buddhas. With the yin che of one of the 10 temples of Even Yama, if his real body is backlogged in Yin Si Purgatory, it's easy for us to do anything to him. As he spoke, the stone statue had become and the body directly skyrocketed to 10 meters. He looked at the 4 immortals opposite. Smile hideously. You guys who let you bastards arrive today. Let's see what a god is. Ghost crying Yasha. Mao god worships without fierce souls between ghosts if there is life, yin and yang. 9 hells. In a hurry. After the shower, hell sounded. Hundreds of evil spirits of all kinds climbed out of the ground. Hang ghost, blood ghost, fallen ghosts, and so on. Children, give me to shred these beasts. The voice of the evil god fell. Many evil spirits recruited from the prince immediately rushed over. Seeing this, the 4 immortals quickly began to mobilize the spiritual energy in the body. Several Xianja turned to attack. A fierce battle broke out. Although there are many evil ghosts in but it can't help them in a short time. Seeing this, the evil god of the ghost mother smiled at the Taoist priest. Looks like I have to use my outpoint skills against you. Give up. He put his hand in front of his shriveled out chest and then jerked one out. Ribs adhering to flesh. He was about to open his mouth to chant a spell. Suddenly I feel a blur in front of me. The ribs were actually taken away from my eyes. Deposit at a glance. It turned out that the royal family master Huang Zhuo pinched his nose with some disgust. This thing is fishy and smelly. What if dogs like it? Gotta take it back for waste. Seeing this, Hu Qingshan's face struck the royal patriarch. You're here too? Ghost Mother Generation Evil God. To be ridiculed by a yellow leather. How can I not be angry? Damn it. He let out a strange cry. He waved his palm and slapped it. The Emperor's purpose is to anger the Ghost Mother. Make the other person lose their mind. Enemies in this state are most prone to making mistakes. This is also Huangxian's fight with others. The usual trick. See the opponent attack. As he ran, he spewed a lot of yellow mist. Don't come here. I see your stomach upset. Don't blame me for farting. The fifth uncle Ma Xian's family has been together for thousands of years. Gray Six looks solemn. Take advantage of Brother Huang to lure away those gods. Please protect me. Help me cast the killing curse. Hu Qingshan Zhang Huayuan. Fearless White Three Immortals listen. Hastily gather together. Resist the raging evil spirits. Gray Six chanted a spell aloud. Call the royal daughter. Receipt is silent. 10 columns of mountaineering. Wear a seal. A god's killing method doesn't kill the devil first. Haojin luminous light. In a hurry. As the rain falls, a thick fog filled the air. Clumps in the fog are created out of thin air by lightning. In an instant, it turned towards the many evil spirits below. Meanwhile, on the other side, Devil May Cry with the imp. In Grandma's yard. Chang Bai is the most vigilant. He subconsciously yelled out what he had heard on TV. The lines I fuck. Be careful to hide. There is an enemy attack and then the big tail is dead. Put the 3 of us on our backs and get ready to start. Chen Daji is not slow either. This guy didn't hesitate for half a second. He punched himself in the nose. What little devil actually came to 7th Master's house? Watch me hit your crotch. Haven't waited for him to shoot. The little devil suddenly let out a terrified scream. Don't wait for him to finish shouting. It exploded into a cloud of black smoke with a bang. Destroy the soul. This sudden change confused us. What do you mean by running all the way here to play self-destruct? Don't wait for Chendaji to study and understand. And Grandma's ghost call suddenly flew in from a distance. Xiaoshen retreats alone. There's a big guy coming. Chendaji's classical language is a little unclear, so... What the hell? Just finished speaking. A puff of red mist rises. The fog clears. The ghost Buddha with the same blood robe appeared in the huge small Buddha courtyard. Statue with blood and tears streaming behind him. Floating like a hill. There's a howling ghost around me. Chendaji suddenly lost his courage when he saw this. The red slither quickly flashed to my side. What the hell is this? The Aunt Grandma immediately blocked in front of him. Little monk, which mountain did you come down from? Your master didn't teach you. Go to someone else's house to draw circles in the middle of the night. Is it rude? After hearing the word master. Ghost Buddha faceless. The originally crazy breath dissipated a little in an instant. He resisted the killing intent in his heart. He put his hands together and chanted a Buddhist name. Namo Amitabha. Beneficiaries are courteous. The little monk comes from Qian Mountain Jingguang Take the liberty Temple. To disturb. Not for altruism, just chasing the murderer. The reason why he was able to suppress his madness. One is the words of the Aunt Grandma. In his obsession, he can do whatever he wants. But you can't embarrass the master. Secondly, he felt the people in this small courtyard. So I said while talking, the Tathagata has clouds in the scriptures. Yingshi, the true body of Buddha, golden smoke. The face is like a full moon. Would tear green lotus. Why is this Buddha behind the master? Shape so weird. Talking room. A compassionate and solemn Buddha leaps into the paper. Been watching for a long time. It actually caused a flash of Buddha light. The ghost Buddha trembled at this moment. Subconscious hands cover. The mouth repeatedly said that the donor's heart is like Bodhi. Great wisdom and compassion. It's a pity that the faceless are ashamed to see the Buddha. Please quickly invite the Buddha into the inner room. I didn't take care of it. He picked up the yellow paper. Get up and walk to the floating Buddha statue. The master should practice Buddhism in a small town. Excuse me, what are the differences between the tenets of Buddhism in a small city and Buddhism in a large city? The Buddha Dharma has been deeply engraved in the heart of the ghost Buddha. Hear my question. He opened his mouth to answer that Buddhism in a small town has the wrath of Vaira. Only after self-cultivation and liberation can all beings be saved. Bliss in the afterlife. And the smile grew on my face. That being the case, then I still have questions. Since Master is practicing Buddhism in a small town, but if you can't face this king directly, how to practice? How to release? How to save all living beings? The Master confronted the king's seemingly ordinary question. In fact, it is secretly integrated with the Taoist secret magic spell. Ask 3 questions in a row. Just like thunder, it resounded in the heart of the ghost Buddha without thought. He was in a cold sweat. The body trembled more violently. Nam Nam repeated these words like a demon. Face the king. How to practice without facing the id. How to release. How to save all living beings. The more you repeat it, the faster it gets. The more you repeat it, the louder it gets. The more you repeat it, the more your body trembles. The color of the Kasaya. Quickly switching between red and gray. At a critical moment, I watched the celestial secretary type mantra. Suddenly, she slapped him on the top of the head. Bodhi has no tree. Spiegel is also not a platform, originally nothing. Where to make dust? Master Ghost Buddha doesn't wake up quickly. This palm is concentrated. Not only is the sound crisp. At the same time, he also left a clear handprint on the top of the ghost Buddha's head. The ghost Buddha gradually quieted down. The blood-red kasaya on his body also disappeared. In its place was a gray loose robe of coarse cloth. He slowly got up and knelt in front of Tears Buddha and me. The ugly bronze mask shattered inch by inch, showing a handsome pale face. Namo Amitabha. The little monk thanks the benefactor for waking up. I smile sideways. It's handled. Master is welcome. I was just lucky enough to know a little Buddhism. I used the Taoist awakening spell again. To awaken the master. Ghost Buddha faceless hands fold 10 after listening. For the first time in more than 1,000 years, I faced the mouth of the Buddha. Sent type in Nirvana Gold. So I heard. The 10th Buddha is in the room, the historical site of the country. By the Arirabadi River. Thoros trees. Great awakening blessed one will want to be Nirvana. If all sentient beings have anything, Jinshi can ask as the last question. Read on. The ancient Buddha finally stopped shedding blood and tears. I slowly closed my eyes. The little monk made my Buddha cry for 1,000 years. Today, treat the Buddha with your own eyes and empathize with all living beings. After saying that, he shot like electricity. He pulled out his eyes. Pinto held high above his head in the palm of his hand. The solemn chanting sounded again. Ghost Buddha Pinto's eyes in the palm of his hand. Rising slowly to the sound of chanting. Float into the eyes of the Buddha statue. At this time, the Buddha statue finally stopped struggling. Is to become peaceful and compassionate again. It's just a pair of eyes that are blood red. And I sighed and I put my arm around him. Although the Master Buddha is merciful, but there is also the wrath of Kong. This is the Buddha. The only way to deter evil sins in all directions. Ghost Buddha, listen to me. Open your mouth calmly. The benefactor saves the great kindness and the little monk has nothing to repay, but there is still something wrong in my heart. Wang Wang donor will complete it together. Help people to the end. Send Buddha to the west. Master, what else do you have to say? If only. It's hard to do what I say and never refuse. Hearing my words, he slowly released his voice. Then put his hands in his abdomen. Struggling to pull out. I saw countless white bones being taken out of his body by him, scattered throughout the yard. There are more than a dozen sea bones with plate seats. The golden light shines faintly on the body. Ghost Buddha has no face to face these white bones, 3 knocks and 9 defeats. Blood keeps flowing from empty eye sockets. These are the rooms that were used by the little monks back then, murdering innocent creatures. This includes my 14 senior brothers. They were haunted by the evil thoughts of the little monk when he collapsed. Thousands of years cannot be liberated. Please also ask the layman to transcend for them with great compassion. The little monk is grateful. I looked at the white bones in front of me. Infinite pity rises in my heart. Nodded in response. He took out the copper coin sword and vanished in the air. There are words in the mouth. Dao Tianchi is snobbish and super humiliating. Lonely ghosts all for lives, Jen. Rich and poor. Like self-care and rescue, etc. With the sound of Song Niancheng, blazes of light flew out of my body, fused into these sea bones. In the scattered bones, shadows with blurred faces condensed into shape. First they line up, and he smiled and he threw a little shove at me. But this time, suddenly a dark figure appeared. The figure jumped up. Just reach out and grab the ghost talisman faceless. I was shocked. Quickly make a sound to remind big things to be careful. But Ghost Country did not dodge or evade, allowing the shadow to take action. Sharp nails immediately. Left scars on his chest. How did you kill me? I will treat you. But don't think it's over. The shadow snorted coldly after saying, gradually dissipated into the air. Ghost Buddha has no face to listen to the road behind, kneeling and kowtowing apologetically. He kept apologizing. Immediately after, a large number of dark shadows surrounded him. I can't bear to look at it and want to help, but was stopped by Grandma. All troubled times have cause and effect. Don't interfere indiscriminately. Ghost Buddha wants to be reborn. When there is today's retribution. While talking, the Ghost Buddha has been hit 100 times in a row. His body has become extremely transparent. The crumbling room seems to disappear at any moment. He was in tears of blood while reciting the Zhizong Wengsheng mantra, until the last shadow completely dissipates. What about the brothers? Why haven't you come out yet? Are you still unwilling to forgive me? In his cry of sorrow, sitting cross-legged on the 14 drama sea bones. Suddenly, 14 phantoms flashing with a faint golden light walked out. Then Kiki came to the kneeling Ghost Buddha body. Ghost Buddha endures the sadness in his heart, trembling and wet. I am willing to admit how the brothers punish me. However, the shadows did not attack him. Just reach out and stroke his head lightly. Then he smiled and disappeared into the air. Ghost Buddha burst into tears, choked up. The shadows disappeared one after another. Breeze. Heaven and earth are sad. The last great monk with a compassionate face appear out of thin air. It is the Dharma realm of the faceless senior brother of the Ghost Buddha. He reached out to help the Ghost Buddha sort out the messy monk doctor. For example, what he looked like when he woke up. Then smile. Look at this little junior brother you love. Fa Ching. Senior brother went to the teacher's side to serve him first. In the future, senior brother will not be there. You better take care of yourself. Ghost Buddha classical words can no longer suppress the grief in my heart. I burst into tears, brothers and sisters. Guilty. Fa Ching, I'm sorry. Faking Mrs. Yu. The figure of the Dharma realm turned into dots of golden light and slowly dissipated, floated away. Only one sentence was left to tell Fa Ching. In the future, you should practice by your side when you are in Huaju. Can't be capricious anymore. Brothers will bless you. Ghost Buddha faceless heartbreak. Kneeling on the ground and kowtowing non-stop. Namo Amitabha. The younger brother compliments the senior brothers to be crowned with bliss. Then a gust of wind blows. The sea bones are lost in the wind. The Ghost Buddha who kept kowtowing also flickered in the wind. until he became a man who was only 5 or 6 years old. The small monk with a delicate face and closed eyes has no intention. But at this time, he is not solemn in the great monk treasure lane. Instead, like the child next door, slightly nervous and shy, Wu Ding got up from the ground, as if forgetting everything before. Ask where this is. This change immediately aroused Chen Daji's damn curiosity. He was stunned and exclaimed, "I fuck." The bald brother is rejuvenated. Seeing Chen Daji approach, he rushed to my side. He was kind to me. Chen Daji scratched his head. It's a little embarrassing. The bald brother was quite cute when he was a child. Wu Din is pouncing. The big eyes looked at me seriously. I'm still talking about the old people in the room. You can't see such a cute and well-behaved child. Grandma took out the delicious food and stuffed it into the unintentional good boy. Eat something. Without hesitation, he will look at me immediately. I have vaguely guessed. So he opened his mouth and said to him, "Eat it." This is Grandma. Inadvertently, I took what was in my grandmother's hands. The little monk has no intention of thanking his grandmother. Then he ate it happily. Grandma Aunt looked up and down, issued an exclamation. This kid actually ate it. Is it a ghost fairy? After his reminder, only then did everyone notice something strange. Wuxen little monk. Not like ghosts enjoy tributes. Just smell. Instead eat the food like a normal person. Chen Daji asked curiously what a ghost is. And I'm happy to think and answer. Ghost fairy, also known as ghost spirit. The 5 immortals of Taoism are ghost immortals respectively. Human fairy. Fairy. Ghost fairy is the lowest among them. They are not reincarnated, but it's hard to be on the list. But even if you can't really enter the immortal gate, ghost immortals are also the door to intimidate one side. Chen Daji's eyes lit up after listening. Then he's under your control now. Can't you walk sideways? I was speechless. How can I just call a ghost fairy? Chen Daji was envious. What doesn't work? If you had taken him early, we don't have to bother. Go fight that evil god. I don't know what happened to Brother Hui and the others. At the same time, on the other side, Ghost Mother Evil God besieged by the 5 great immortals. The situation is getting tougher. He was very confused about this. Why doesn't the Ghost Buddha do it yet? Is it so silent? Was it killed by the yard owner? How could those people be so strong? I wanted to lure the Ghost Buddha to kill that human helpless. Come pick up my danger. As a result, the Ghost Buddha was also useless. It seems that only one trick can be used. Thinking so far, he released a lot of black ghosts. The black ghost energy transformed into white bones. The big hand grabs the crack in his stomach. Pull hard to the sides. Crash. Stinky, sticky black blood gushing. 10 in black blood with livid faces. Face screw. A monster-like ghost voice flew out with a smile. Still waiting to see my mother. The situation is urgent. How can the evil god of the ghost mother be in the mood to talk nonsense? Children, get up. Together for mother, kill everything that crawls out of the animal lane. Then control the kid. Cheche rushed towards Wudaxian. Wudaxian's family is not afraid. They're coming at us head on. Graysix snorted coldly. Command Go is to download this trick. See if I don't kill all your children and grandchildren. Chang Huayuan frowned. Remind him to pay attention to the growing Yin Che. Don't fall for it. After giving birth to 10 little ghosts, the Yin Che in the Mountain of Cinnamon has almost become a substance. Almost all packages in a 10-mile radius live in. All kinds of animals inside were swept away by ghosts. Instant death. These purplish gases come out. It heightens the ghost that surrounds the mountain. Grandma seemed to feel something and looked in the direction of Gamu Mountain. He opened his mouth with a solemn face. The ghost mother evil god has taken it to the next level. Seeing that the trajectory of Gamu Mountain is getting heavier and heavier, Grandma's serious face hurriedly arranged. Ba Yilao Fanning is preparing for another 3 lives. The old lady has to kill this thing tonight. Some distressed grandma. Hurry up and report that there are 5 immortals against him. Grandma, don't worry. Grandma Wenyan patted my shoulder kindly. Silly boy. Evil God always has a God word. Although the Xian family is called Xian, but it has not been recognized by heaven and earth. The difference between words. Even if the 5 immortal families make a move together, it is also very difficult to deal with this God's words. Chen Daji heard this. Doubtful inquiry. What the hell is this ghost mother evil God? So awesome. So I started talking to him. The ghost mother can give birth to 10 babies in one child, born in the morning and eaten at night. Therefore, it is also called mother. People are terrified by its name. In the ancient legends of the southwest land of China, the terrain there is transformed by a witch mother. After the death of the first witch mother, he was buried in the 9-story demon tower. But her body never decomposed. It became glacier crystal. Princess Wencheng used once gossip after being buried. In the ghost mother, 12 temples were built in key parts of the body to suppress. Only then did peace return to the southwest. Even the one on Mount Gamu, far less powerful than the original ghost mother. But he's also an extremely difficult guy to deal with. Chen Daji here is so evil. I quickly persuaded my grandmother. It's too dangerous. Grandma, don't shoot yet. My boss and I are going to support Brother Huiliu. They are innocent and unintentional. La, my sleeves are small. The monk would also like to go. And Grandma has smiled, Grandma. I'm also going to meet that evil god, Grandma. To see so many of us. I'm relieved. Okay, you have to be careful. Then we hurried towards Gamu Mountain. At this time in Gamu Mountain, with the help of 10 little ghost gods, the ghost mother has completely gained the upper hand. The 5 big horse fairy families were more or less injured. Seeing a criminal emergency, Hu Qingshan hurriedly said to several old brothers, I didn't expect the evil god of ghost mother to be so fierce. It seems that today's events cannot be violated. Family Master Huang, you are fast. Please go and invite my ancestors to come and get rid of demons. Taste we cover you. Huang Zuo nodded when he heard the words, everyone be careful. Give up. He used his fastest speed to run out of the mountain. Stinky yellow skin, you still want to run. Go to hell, ghost mother. I hate this yellow who broke himself with a fart for a long time. Red hair. I saw him tear open his belly again and send out sharp bursts. Huang Zuo's cultivation actually couldn't resist. Laughed by sharp. Little by little, it floated towards the belly of the evil god of the ghost mother. It happened suddenly. The remaining for Xianja want to rescue. It's too late. Huang Zuo was whooshed by the evil god of the ghost mother. Inhale into the stomach. Immediately after, bursts of mournful howls came from the stomach. Apparently Huang Zuo is in great pain. Aoyama was shocked to see this and released the royal patriarch. Ghost mother evil god looked at them greedily. Smile, don't worry. You come one by one. At this critical moment, we finally arrived. You're the one who died tonight. I congratulate. Then he formed righteousness with both hands and recited the formula of the sword. It's pranayama. Reciprocating cycle. Endless life. In the name of nothingness. Joker. In an instant, the mahogany dagger turned into a ray of light. With the sound of thunder. Conscientious, towards the bulging belly of the evil god. I shot. At the same time, the little monk was not idle. He goes up and he sits there cross-legged. No more tension and shyness on the face, but a solemn elephant. The relic is a fantasy. Immortal. Unclean. No more, no less. With unintentional thoughts. A giant swastika mark suddenly appeared out of thin air, falling towards the evil god of the ghost mother. Ghost mother evil god sees this. I was so pissed off, okay? Looks like I'll have to make the outpoint work. Footless ghosts and mothers, heaven and earth, ghosts, gods, spirits, all things. Non-stick body. All laws are not spiritual, no body, no yin and yang, no cause and effect. Like the mother god, after the spell is completed. The swastika of scripture seems to have lost its purpose. Stuck in the air. No more falling all mahogany daggers. Continue with the sound of wind and thunder, still slashing towards the goal. No panic for the mother evil god. You smile and put your hand into your stomach. Grab a handful of wriggling flesh. The secretary is good. But you're still so little after that. The flesh in the hand turns into a new red bag. Stinking at the mahogany dagger. Seeing that the mahogany dagger was about to be taken away by him. Between lightning and flint. Two black corpses fell from the sky. Like to giant whips. With a snap, the bag of flesh turned into ears. Subsequently, 6 golden heroes came through the air carrying ghosts screaming. Shameless stinker. Who did you just say was so nice? The miserable white light from the leather lanterns shine on the demon mother. It actually made a sizzling burning sound. Feel the unique surprise of the ant grandmother. The evil god of the ghost mother immediately became vigilant for a few minutes and Ghost fairy just as he was distracted. The mahogany short sword that escaped from the trap is no longer hindered. Crash. Make a deep gash in his stomach. The stench surges. The royal master Huangzuo rolled down the hole. Ghost mother evil god snorted coldly when she saw this. Lift your leg and suddenly step on the stinky yellow leather towards him. Go to hell, crucial moment. Chantaiki, without hesitation, a punch fell on his nose. The big slingshot in his hand was fired again and again. Bald ladies, you're too crazy. I just gave birth and left the baby at home to raise it well. How dare you go out and bully people? The evil god of the ghost mother did not put Chendaji in his eyes at all. After all, compared to him, Chendaji is like an urchin throwing small stones. There was no dodging. But then tragedy. The small stone hit by Chendaji. Like little bombs. After the solemn evil god exploded. It stinks. Mangled. Ghost mother evil god howled and fell to the ground. He was traumatized. And he was infuriated. I saw him grab to clumps of flesh and blood from his chest. Throwing in the wind. It actually turned into something similar to a fetal demon. Stop all attacks. Whether it is the stone that Chendaji hit. Or mahogany dagger. After encountering the fetus demon, all blocked by the darkness outside. The ant grandma sees this. He quickly reminded Chendaji to stay away. This is blood magic. This thing is dirty. At this moment, the evil god sneered, it's just a small thing. Bull knife. Now let me show you the true power of God. And as he spoke, he pulled out a rib in excruciating pain. Then lifted up into the air and chant the words, the sky is blue. Out of the vast land. All things are hidden in a bottle without flesh and blood. With no broken bones as an account. Draw the dungeon as a prison. As the spell is completed. A large red mist of blood. Suddenly, it filled the heads of Grandma Ant and Chendaji. Before they can react. The blood mist becomes a barrier. Instantly trap them. Chendaji slapped the barrier and scolded angrily and let me out. Stinky old ladies. The approaching ghost mother laughs and lets you go. I'm going to torture you slowly. Seeing Chendaji in danger, I immediately set foot on 7 stars. If you are unwilling to read words in the sky, you will not be strong on the road. Zai Dao Tiande is also Qing. Earth and Germany are also profitable. Virtue is also based on spirit. Good also wins. Everything comes alive. In my name. In a hurry. 1,000 arrows roll out. Pronunciation drop. The mahogany sword suddenly became a masterpiece. One handle becomes 3C. 329. 9 is now 27. They all carry hydrogen. Lightning whistled. interspersed back and forth on the demon mother. Each attack leaves a transparent hole. It looks like it's been struck by lightning. Smoke. Bastard, you can't hurt my brother. I don't think it's enough. So he got up and took out the copper coin sword. Raise your hand to issue a technical method. The secretary in the Heavenly Master Scroll 33 heavenly gods are unable to make east is east, make west is west, make south is south, make north is north, be headed from the wind without order. In the name of nothing. In a hurry. Dawei Tianchen mantra / As the spell is completed, hydrogen gas bursts between heaven and earth. 33 golden armor magic leads. These magical. It's not like the 6 Ding 6 guard recruited by Grey Lao Liu. Like a sculpture. But as living creatures. Each one has a clear face. Just eyes closed. His expression was slightly sluggish. The evil god of the ghost mother was shocked when she saw this. Panic even. This is 33 gods. Impossible. How can you attract the 33 gods to attack? Who is it? Didn't wait for him to finish. The magic whistles and raises the weapon. Hit the demon mother. When disaster was approaching, he naturally did not dare to neglect him in the slightest. Open your mouth in a hurry. It's like a black hole. Swallowed all the little devils. In the blink of an eye, the surrounding ghosts together with the little ghosts and gods, devoured. Ghost mother evil god whose body soared to 3 stories high. Surrounded by thunder. Fireworks burn beneath my feet. This is what it looked like in the heyday of a generation of evil gods. 33 What can God do? You can't kill me, ancestor. Ghost mother evil god said and smiled. Then he grabbed the back of his neck with both hands. I screamed hard. One draw, he actually slowly pulled the entire spine out. The spine is stinky with blood and flesh. At the top is a giant bull head, no doubt. Several flesh and blood traps. Mother God help. Ghost mother evil god then roared. He took great strides towards the 33 gods. 33 The face of the god remains unchanged. Crazy attack around the evil god of the ghost mother. The 5 immortals who have smoked. He hurriedly brought Chendaji and the Ant Grandma was rescued. Auntie and Grandma looked at the tragic battle between gods and demons in front of them. Let out a sigh. It turns out that this is the power of the right god. I can't wait for Igray. Lalu agrees. If the ghost mother, the evil god fought like this from the beginning. 5 out of the horse fairy family. I'm afraid it won't last a few rounds. But I see 33 Junction seems to be able to hold back the ghost mother. Cannot be exterminated. And I nodded and said, yes. My magic is low. 33 Heaven God may not be able to hold on for long. Gotta figure out a way. Chendaji Wenyan had a bad idea as soon as he rolled his eyes. He quietly walked to Wushin's side. Bald brother, you don't think the kid who was eaten by the big-bellied woman. But does it look like the one that committed suicide at our house? The originally innocent Wu Din heard this sentence. His face suddenly changed. Before we could react, his body suddenly flickered violently. In an instant, it was restored to the appearance of its youth. Copper face, blood robe, black knife. Blood oblique hanging rib width suspended. The wind blows. Ghost Buddha faceless comes again. The black dagger points to the evil god. The whole body turned into blood light and jumped on it. It was you who destroyed my senior brother Shigu. Damn you. He's like a mad beast. Pounced on the ghost mother and started to bite frantically. The dagger in his right hand keeps cutting. He swallowed the stinky flesh and blood directly into his stomach. The pale face under the bronze mask is full of madness. Die. This game is sure to swallow you alive. Ghost Mother Evil God is already very difficult to deal with the 33 gods. Now at a Master of Ghost Buddha collection. Suddenly fell into a disadvantage. He tried several times to throw Faceless off his body. And neither worked. Severe pain. Let this evil god also fall into madness. He picked up his spine and stabbed it into the back of the ghost Buddha. Due to excessive force, this time it penetrated him and the ghost Buddha together. The stinky monk still doesn't let go. Do you want to die with me? Ghost Buddha is extreme. Stimulated by the pain, laughing even more madly. Living is suffering. You bastard need to be able to transcend this work. I couldn't ask for more. Huge tears of laughter rose into the air. Hit the head hard at the evil god of the ghost mother. The blow even shines itself below. There is a saying in the north that when you fight, you are soft and afraid of hard. Hard to be afraid of death. Ghost Buddha is acting like a madman at the moment. A completely desperate lunatic. Since you want to eat the ancestor raw, then the ancestor will eat you first. The ghost mother's evil god's words suddenly cracked open because of falling. Exposed the wriggling granulation inside. Wrapped forward like a man eating flour. The ghost Buddha hanging on him swallowed it in one bite. It went really well. Ghost mother evil god himself did not expect. He was stunned at first. Then he looked up to the sky and laughed wildly. That's all the stinky monk can do. If I devour your ancestor, I can save myself 1,000 years of hard work. Chendaji was shocked when he saw this bald brother. No, we have to save him. He was just about to act, but it was held down by the ants when they got old. That's a ghost first, maybe there's a second trick. As he had expected. I see the ghost mother. The evil god slammed his spine to the ground. The mouth began to recite the heaven and earth cha loudly. Nowhere to bury. Why ghost? Subin seeking roots the bull's head at the top of the spine bone. Eyes flashing. Black smoke spewed out of his mouth. After the black smoke, the appearance of the ghost mother evil god changed. The neck greatly. Is half a meter long. And it grows 10 little heads. It is exactly what the little ghosts and gods of Shifang look like. The body is more bony. The belly is big like a black pot upside down. The size has also skyrocketed to about 20 meters. His mouth widened between laughter. He swallowed the 33 gods in one bite. Everything happened too fast. The strange thieves didn't have time to react at all. Chendaji's blood is surging. He quickly took out his slingshot. Big belly, hurry up and light up. The head brother and the 33 gods spit it out for me. Otherwise I'll stab your crotch. The ghost mother who has suffered a loss once dares not neglect. Immediately dodge. Ordinary people. The next person to die is you. He snorted coldly and rushed away with big strides. Although Chendaji was trembling with fear. But not sure. Instead, he raised the slingshot again. The big-bellied woman. I will fight with you. At this critical moment. I step forward. Protecting Chendaji behind him. Copper coin sword points to the sky. I use my last energy to recite aloud. Wuxing Jinsai. Illumination Zhuanming. Thousands of gods protect me from the sky. Beast uniform soldier. Wushan devil. The place of execution. Wanshan Fengning. But before I finish the mantra, Vimal himself trembled violently. Painful expression on his face. The belly is more bulging. It's like there's something going around in there. Chendaji stared at everything that had happened. The power of Zhou is so great. Before he finished reading, I shook my head no. It should be unintentional. Immediately after, there was the crazy laughter of the ghost Buddha faceless. Namo Amitabha. This game eats your heart first and then your liver. Beast, you can slowly enjoy the taste of Shura hell. The evil god fell to the ground and kept rolling. There were also bursts of miserable howls from his mouth. Why aren't you dead yet? That's not possible. See the scene I suddenly complexion. Ghost Buddha is really fine. He's going to take care of this guy. The scream of the female evil god is getting louder and louder. They're getting bigger. Pain, pain, smelly monk. Come out and get out of my stomach. Ghost Buddha ignored him. Just keep laughing. Severe pain. Let the evil god of the ghost mother completely lose her mind. Then I'll catch you out with my own hands. He's rolling like crazy. He put his hands in his stomach and rummaged for the ghost Buddha. Flesh and internal organs suddenly covered the sky like arrows. The stinky liquid fell on the snow. Make a sizzling burning sound. The screams were earth-shaking. Chendaji was stunned. Reminded that the guy got smaller. I saw this and quickly took out the copper coin sword. Wu Din is consuming the Dharma body of the ghost mother. Let me give him a hand. Seconds are super immortal. Swinging and naturally clear. The way to achieve success is to overcome all spells and recite them. A blinding golden light flashed from the sword in an instant, directly draped over the body of the evil god of the ghost mother. A stick of incense after time. The wicked god's scream is getting smaller and smaller, gradually become unheard of. The body is also gradually blurring under the golden light. After a while, the blood moon fades, the wind blows. The huge evil god of the ghost mother has disappeared. Wu Din covered in blood, standing up in the strange eyes of everyone. Chendaji saw his fierce appearance. Unconsciously swallowed saliva. Wu Din walked quickly towards me. Then he quickly hid behind me. Only half of his little red face was exposed. Then, Brother Amitabha, I'm a little scared. I smiled and touched his head. A word of comfort, don't be afraid. There is a brother. Sword Ghost Mother is out. The 5 immortal families also breathed a sigh of relief. They were all more or less injured. Especially Huang Zuo's injury is the most serious. Grey Six bowed. This time, thank you Mr. Z and Master Wu Din for your help. Otherwise, we may not be able to save our lives. Hearing this, I hurriedly handed it back to the 6th brother. You're welcome. What? I should thank you all for helping me. Huang Zuo suddenly let out a sigh. I thought I was pretty good. But I didn't know until I met the evil god this time. Compared to the heralded practitioners, the gap is too big. Bai Wui's face showed sadness after listening. Chuma Xian calls Nestle. In fact, it is the origin of animal. No one will teach us. Who made us the orthodox ancestors of the animal way? Who is willing to accept ours? Huang Zuoji looked at Hui Lao Liu with envy. Right. 500 years ago, I knelt in Qingfeng Road for 3 days and 3 nights. I want to learn from a teacher. As a result, instead of teaching, you almost took me. We're not like Big Six. Take care of Mr. Z. Sing and sing. The meaning inside and outside the picture couldn't be more obvious. I was just about to speak. Hui Lao Liu protected me behind him. He snorted with anger. Directly initiate a royal. You're out of line. Is this to force Mr. Z to preach? Watch him do it. Huang Zuo quickly apologized publicly. Mr. Z, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it that way. I'm just in a hurry. The door is not closed. And I went up and I helped him up. I understand what Brother Huang means. I already said it. I'll teach you anytime you want to learn. So I took out the bobo paper and handed it to him. Brother Huang, you can read it at will. So the point of Taoism is right in front of you. How could Huang Zuo not be excited? Thank you, Mr. Z. Wait for me to learn BG. Gross armature ring repays Mr. Z. Impatient him. Reached out and grabbed the piece that exploded the shop. However, just as the hand touches the book, a thunder suddenly appeared in the void. Immediately put it heavily on his hand. Huang Zuo screamed in pain. The man quickly withdrew his hand. Eyes of horror and disbelief. How could this be? Such a result. Although it has long been expected in other lines. But it also left them quite disappointed when it really happened. There is a sadness that shares the same disease. Hu Qingshan sighed. He went up and helped him, Old Yellow. You are suspicious by nature. I must think Xiaoxian. He has long passed on the secret to us. Accept you right. You could not be more wrong. We're like you. Can't learn that skill. I wait for the alien to have a congenital lack of follow-up feet. Shallow with no great merit. How can you burn your fingers? The key point is that Huang Zuo's face is full of frustration. He looked at Hui Liu doubtfully. But how can Brother Hui learn? The sixth immediately explained. I was protected by Mr. Z with his own merits. Chang Huayuan looks up at the sky. It's also a long sigh, this is our life. The face of the Aunt Grandma also showed. Lost look. I can see them like this. There are limits. Although the Tao cannot be passed lightly. Light transmission is not the Tao. But everyone wishes me a good broadcast, and I made up my mind. We must find a way to pass this law on to them. The time will soon come, the next day. The 5 great immortals and the Aunt Grandma. I called them all together. They came to the mountain in doubt. I saw that I had prepared the 3-tone altar. Huang Zuo curiously asked Mr. Z if he wanted a sacrifice. And I laugh and I don't care everybody. I've found a way to spread your teachings. Hear this? Everyone immediately looked ecstatic. And she explained. This is what Xiaoju came up with. Move the sky with emotion. I hope I can use the things of Xiaoju's family. Impress the ancestors. Just do this. You are also infected with the cause and effect of Xiaoju. Hear this? Chang Huayuan quickly took the lead to express his position. Don't worry. No matter what happens today, he will have his revenge. Wei Wujiaxian will help you personally. Gui Lao 6 nodded. And that's right. No matter how terrifying Mr. Zhao's enemies are, I will never let my husband go into danger alone. Grandma smiled after hearing it. Well, thank you in advance. So I went up to the altar and I burned incense. Heaven and Earth Spirit Sword Immortal Master sounded. Mo Evolution. Want to carry forward the Tao Tube. Raise my majesty. Can you still ask Lings if you die? And I bite my thumb. Apply the blood evenly on the copper coin sword. Then the sword pointed to the crowd below the stage. The teacher clearly saw that it was difficult for me to change my bloodline for a long time. The oath is passed down to everyone's pure moral character. Dedicated to treasure. If future generations rely on me to sell the law and do evil, I will definitely recover and clean up the farmers with my own hands. And the audience heard me. Hurry up and kneel down, it's already a new city. They all shouted and hoped that the immortal master would pity them. But after a long time, there is still no response from the altar. All the immortals are inevitably a little disheartened. He lamented that he was not born well. After all, it is not taken seriously by orthodoxy, but still insist on kneeling and motionless. I see this. I can only kneel down and start bargaining with God. Tianchi wrong handle. Fortunately, the seniors have mercy. Preach my way to protect myself, but I have been passed down to this day. Only HUA human. The younger generation has a blood feud. Life is not preserved. I'm not afraid, lest the inheritance be broken. Make future generations unaware of the majesty of the heavenly master. In this way, the younger generation is guilty. Uncle can only come to the door now, searching for heirs while lingering. I say Liz alone again. After a moment, suddenly on the altar, there was a faint sigh. Like helplessness and like lamenting my family's experience. A palm-sized cyan wooden plaque. Slow coagulation forming. Quietly suspended in front of my eyes. Wooden card quaint atmosphere. Full of traces of time. The front is a big cauldron. There is a black lettering written on the back with twist characters. The smoke rising from the incense burner. Formed for large characters in the air. Preaching is teaching. Following the breeze. There is a faint fragrance in the wind. Hu Qingshan, Aunt Grandma and others were all overjoyed to see this. I used to kneel down and thank you. Shouting God's mercy and mercy. I wait for Mr. Zhao's mercy and kindness as heavy as a mountain. I look at them together in my heart, don't worrying about them. The Heavenly Master has Ling Ying Kai to teach a few people. Please come up one by one. Grandma Aunt has long regarded me as a direct relationship in her heart. Kinship is therefore not modest. That's my oldest grandson up there. I took advantage of this first. And I nodded my head. Take out the pen and paper and think for a moment, Grandma. I will write down the Dharma I have passed on to you. And I started to write. First, the secret technique of soul nourishment, the method of cultivating
Then he
the
wrote
British
8 orbital
gods. Spales in a row. I suddenly feel the pressure. It seems that there are hands in the dark to stop me. Keep writing. Grandma Aunt was worried and wanted to stop me. Shaoju is enough. I heard this, and it made sense to reluctantly part. This is the Taoism that the Heavenly Master promised Chuaning. I'm sorry I couldn't write more. The Aunt Grandma smiled kindly after hearing it. Grandma was a lonely ghost. Only by borrowing your light can we have today's blessing. We are content. In this way, the 5 immortal families came forward one by one. Soon after, they have all obtained their own thieves' cultivation method. The last one is Sister Chen's turn. Boss, you look like you're about to have kidney deficiency. Otherwise, I'll forget it. He smiled and shook his head, indicating that he was okay. Don't talk nonsense. Wait until I give you a few attack spells. Lest you break your nose. After all, I'm too lazy to deal with this unreliable idiot. Pick up the pen and start writing. But when the pen and paper touch, just a bang. The pen exploded. Collapsed sawdust. A few more are tied to Chendaji's forehead. Hoo-hoo adventure. Chendaji bared his teeth in pain. Cursing. What the hell does that mean? I'm speechless when I see this. I can only comfort softly. Don't worry. Maybe it's a coincidence. Let's try again. After saying that, I took out a new brush and was just about to try it. And then bang. Therefore, Chendaji had a few more sawdust on his forehead. At this moment, he is about to cry, boss. Is someone trying to hurt us with a detonator in it? But why is it always me who gets hurt? Are you okay? I understand that I can't force it. I thought about trying to read it to him. The simplified version of Zhao's request for a curse. The aroma is deep and cloudy. Ignite the fragrance through the gate of heaven. Startling birds run like clouds and arrows. Jade rabbit glory for wheels. Nanchang Beidou full sky. 5 colorful clouds are making a fuss, and the temple is opened in the crepe myrtle palace. Tao Yu and Jade girl please fairy. I'll read it. Chendaji just followed suit. I didn't expect to learn half of it yet. There was rolling thunder in the sky. Then a bolt of lightning was waiting to fall towards Chendaji. The situation is urgent and I can't think about it. Push him away quickly. Lightning strikes the altar and puffs of blue smoke. Chendaji couldn't care less about the miserable fall. Sitting on the ground looking up at the sky and muttering to myself. Who am I? Where am I? What did I do? Why was I struck by lightning? Chendaji, who fell to the ground, said miserably. Boss, why is this? I've never done anything unconscionable. Although I am terrified inside. But the surface is still as stable as Mount Tai, in order to give Chendaji confidence in himself. The brain is turning quickly, taboo. I think this is still an accident. So be it. I will teach you a basic body protection technique. Let's forget about the bells and whistles. So I clenched my hands and chanted the spell. I read a sentence of Chendaji and learn a sentence. Beidou Qianjin. Tiangong Great Holy Spirit. King Lixi. Innocent protect me. Tongming 3 Realms Road Jiao Xiechi North Yagong Lijiang is right. Qianzhong Shuzhenkin. After the calligraphy is completed at Ju Yugang office. And a miracle happened. Golden light flashes out of thin air. The current 9 wonders. They were armed with extraordinary weapons. Then the light flashed. It actually slowly integrated into Chendaji's body. Then in his limbs. Front chest, back, etc. 9 lifelike tattoos appear. surrounded by blue light. I saw that Chendaji seemed to have really become a god. His black face was full of grievance, and he rubbed it away, while complaining about the boss. Can this thing be washed off? I heard you can't join the army if you have tattoos. I was ecstatic. This is a permanent blessing. Permanent blessing spell. It does not rise among the two sects of Fu Dao, but that's almost always used for pouring back ore on the statue in the temple. Living people like Chendaji are cursed forever. Blessed. There is no precedent in any of the ancient texts. It seems we must find a way to investigate Daji's background. And after that we went back to Grandma's. Everyone get something. So excited. Drink 3 rounds. Drink very happily. I lay on the table in a daze. Passed out. I was suddenly awakened by a strange dream. Always white and red. The face as warm as jade actually revealed a blue-gray color. Grandma saw this and quickly asked what was going on. I didn't hide it. The strange dreams you have. Say it one by one. I dreamed of my mother. He didn't say anything. Just keep crying. Grandma frowned when she heard that. I mumbled to myself and dreamed of your mother. He didn't say anything, he was crying. He was silent for a long time, and then he sighed all his life. Back upset. It seems your mother is in big trouble in Inslee. And I was horrified. Quickly asked what to do. How can I help my mother? Grandma tapped me on the shoulder to signal not to panic. Don't panic. Go to the Xian family in Zhondatang and ask what happened. After saying that, she went to the side room and started arranging. And I was outside, anxious back and forth. Not for a while. The Xian family of Gaidatang has come back. Grandma's face changed dramatically when she saw this. How could this be?